Hi, and welcome to Truth or Talk. I'm your host, Firstine Henry. Today's a little bit of a special show. I gathered some friends together to comment on this video I'm about to show you right now.
On or before January 20th, Donald Trump will no longer be the commander-in-chief. He will lose control of the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Special Forces, and America's nuclear arsenal. On January 20th, Donald Trump will become the commander-in-chief of a different army. This army. The greatest threat facing America today comes from within. Radical extreme conservatives, also known as domestic terrorists. They are hidden among us, disguised behind regular jobs. They are your children's teachers. They work at supermarkets, malls, doctors' offices, and many are police officers and soldiers. For more than a decade, Donald Trump has spoken directly to white supremacists in their language.
Build that wall! Build that wall! Build that wall!
Pocahontas? Is it offensive? Oh, really? Oh, I'm sorry about that.
Donald J. Trump is calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States.
In the middle of a presidential debate, Donald Trump was asked to disavow white supremacy. He refused. Instead, he told the Proud Boys to stand back and stand by.
Proud Boys, stand back and stand by.
They heard their leader. They even responded to him on Twitter promising to stand by. And on January 6, 2021, Trump greenlit them. They suited up, they flew in, they took hotel rooms, they loaded their weapons, prepared their bombs, and they attacked with the intention of killing Nancy Pelosi and hanging Vice President Mike Pence.
They were vocally saying, "Where's the speaker? We know she has staff. They're here someplace. We're going to find them."
In the years ahead, Trump will lead his army of domestic terrorists. He will encourage and incite violence. He will play the role of arsonist and fireman. He will start a civil war and then say things were more peaceful when he was president. We have to fight back. In this new war, the battlefield has changes. Computers can be more valuable than guns. And this is what we need now more than ever, an army of citizen detectives. I'm proposing we form a citizen army. Our weapons will be computers and cell phones. We, who are monitoring extremists on the internet and reporting their findings to authorities. Remember, before the Navy SEALs killed Osama bin Laden, he had to be found. He was found by a CIA analyst working on a computer thousands of miles away. It's up to you.
Okay, so thought it was pretty horrifying. I wanted to comment. I kind of made, note that I don't really like to play the race card, but I think in this instance, it's really important to show that people that are non-white that don't agree with this. So I got some friends together, some other people that are YouTubers or have social media presence to talk about the video. Some of us actually went to the Capitol. We were in DC on that day, and we wanted to kind of give our perspective on what happened, because the mainstream media is basically lying. I'm basically getting sick of being lied on, and I wanted to do something about it. But the most wonderful thing happened. We talked about that, our reactions, maybe the first 10 minutes or so to the video, and then it spun into this whole other conversation about the about blacks in America and the problems that we face. And I thought it turned out to be amazing. It turned out to be better than I thought it was gonna be. So let's get to the interview. Here we go. Okay. All right, guys. All right, welcome. I wanted to make this meeting in response to that horrific propaganda video that was done, talking about the insurgents in the Capitol and then painting them all as white supremacists. And some of us actually were there documenting the situation and observing, and we knew that wasn't true. And I literally was watching that video with my mouth hanging open, like, is this shit for real? Like, who does this? I cannot believe it. And then some of my white friends were like, one of my white girlfriends, she was like, I was scared. Like, it like freaked her out, because we're like trying to, basically saying we're coming after you, and they're painting all these pictures of like white people as being like these like rabid, crazy racists, which isn't true. The Trump supporters, and we know that because we've gone to rallies, we've spoken to people, we have friends. And I'm not really one to really play the race card, I would say, but in this case, I think this is a card that has to be played, because they need to see that there are people that are not white that disagree with this. So Would you guys go around and give your name and the handle that you want people to reach you at, and then I'll put the links in the description after too. So I'm Verstine. I'm Verstine Henry, co-founder of Truth or Talk. You can reach me at Truth or Talk on most social media or truthertalk.com, Truth or Talk on Facebook. So go on. Axel.
I'm Axel, and you can reach me at AxeTruth on at my website, axetruth.com, and also on BitChute at AxeTruth and Rumble AxeTruth. YouTube I have several channels, but right now I'm streaming on AxeTruth Rebirth over there now.
Okay. Prometheus. Oh, sorry, Prometheus.
Yeah, hey, Prometheus Hatchet. I have a YouTube channel. It's called Prometheus Unchained. Check it out. I got a lot of old videos that might enlighten you a bit. And you could just check me out on Twitter, LightandFire33. And that's it. My Facebook's been deactivated without reason. So that's all I got.
That's shocking.
Wow.
Christopher.
Yeah, Christopher Wright. You can find me on YouTube under the Christopher Wright Show, and that's my handle or just Chris Wright Show on other net platforms and social media. But if you just look up Christopher Wright, nyc.com, that's my homepage. You can just find me on Google, Christopher Wright, with like Wright Brothers with a W, and you should be able to find me somewhere out there.
Okay, Inonge.
Inonge KABELE. I have a YouTube channel called Questioning Thoughts. That's
okay.
it.
Oh yeah. Maurice, Momo.
All right. Yes, Maurice DELK. You can find me on YouTube. I got about 4 channels, but I got a main channel. You can go to my main channel right there, Maurice DELK. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Periscope. I'm on Parler. I'm everywhere. You can just Google me up. You'll find me somewhere.
Okay, got you. All right, a third eye.
Yeah, I'm Rod D. My YouTube channel is Third Eye Philosophy. My Instagram is Third Eye Patriot. It's third.eye.patriot. And my Facebook is Freethinker. So yeah, mainly I'm on Freethinker on Facebook and Instagram because I've always been on Facebook. I mean, Facebook is, but yeah, I used to live in New York. I live in Virginia now. I moved to a more conservative area. Got out of the city. We all know how that is.
Oh, dude, yeah. Good for you.
Smart man.
I'm trying to get out.
I'm trying to get out too.
Oh, I'm trying to get out too. Oh, everybody's trying to escape.
I left 2 years ago. Yeah.
Oh wow, yeah, I haven't spoken to you in a while. Last time I spoke to you in New York, so I'm happy for you.
Congratulations.
You broke free. You left the plantation.
Now I gotta deal with Ralph Northam. So.
Oh no!
Oh Lord.
Yeah.
One devil to another.
Yeah. All right, cool. Citizen Man.
Yeah, I go by Citizen Man. You can find me on YouTube at Citizen Man TV. Also on Instagram at Citizen_Man1218. Yeah. I'm from upstate New York, but I live in Florida. So I got a little bit of experience living in the North, living in the South, the different dynamics, the mindsets of people. And what I found was you find a lot more racist people around liberals, oddly enough.
Oh yeah,
that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
You guys hear me okay?
Well, you still sound like you have a bit of a stroke or something. Like it's like I can hear you, but it's very like
Is my audio bad?
Slowed. It's slowed down.
Yeah, it's
like your speech is slowed
And
down.
your screen also is buffering. Your screen is buffering. So I think it's a connection issue because your screen is freezing up too.
All right, KAILA.
Yes, hi everybody. KAILA from California. I'm in hot Cali, illegal immigrant land. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram under KAILA Truths. You can find my new show, USA Talk to KAILA, Free Speech Social Network, on YouTube, Rumble, BitChute, Telegram, Gab, MeWe, and Twitter. Although I don't use Twitter much because I don't, that whole situation. But yeah, so either KAILA Truce or you can find me under USA Free Speech Social Network.
Okay, cool. Red Pill.
Hey everyone. Also, California girl looking to relocate. Anyway,
okay.
I'm basically Red Pill Rage on all platforms, and like my other sister from California, I'm on all the platforms: Twitter, Gab, BitChute, Library, Periscope, Twitter, TikTok, News Clapper. I mean, you name it, I'm on there at Red Pill Rage. My website is currently under construction. However, you guys can come visit that at a later date, redpillrage.net.
All right, awesome. All right, so let's begin. I just started the questions. What is that noise? These questions were written by INONGE KABELE, and I thought we should just have questions just to kind of keep some sort of semblance, but it's probably going to span off into other things just regarding the situation, what's going on. So I thought that video was bullshit. It was bullshit. Anyway, let's just go to the questions. What are your feelings about the video? I just said mine. What's yours? We'll just kind of go in order as we see on the screen, I guess, unless something's itching to go first. What did you guys think when you first saw the video?
After you on the screen.
Huh?
I think everybody's screen has maybe a different order. I don't know.
Oh, okay. I'll just say first person to chime in then. What did you think?
That was one of the best propaganda videos I've seen in my life, and I was blown away. I was impressed and I was revolted. Scary stuff.
You know, the original source, the comments, somebody in the comments said, "Hey, Joseph Goebbels called. He wants his propaganda video back." They're like, yeah, It was crazy. I was like, anybody else? What do you want to say, Christopher?
It's just, complete fake news as usual. You know what I mean? They take, what the left is good at doing is they take a situation and they twist everything around and they make it some crazy controversy. Because when I went to the event and what I saw and what I witnessed is totally different from what they're saying in that video. So, and I kind of saw it kind of leaning that way. Like the day after the event, I saw how the press was reporting it, and so I kind of already saw trying to make that adjustment and make it seem like, oh, this was a terrorist act. And then of course you got AOC coming out talking about, oh, she was under attack and all this stuff, and come to find out like they weren't even in her building, the protesters were. So that was all a lie. So it's just the left doing what they do best, twisting around the news, trying to manipulate people, having their actors coming out and doing a bad pandering acting job like AOC, and that's what we're seeing.
Yeah, and it sucks because it was a great day. Like we were having such a good time. And I was meeting people and everybody was very loving. And, we all had our, I think you guys doing live streams, they cut us off after a certain time, right? Like I was able to get some and then they cut our feeds. So that was another thing I noticed too. It's like they cut our live stream so we couldn't record what was going on in real time. So that was another way that they manipulated information, because if they had everybody recording in real time from different angles, then it would have been harder for them to make propaganda, regarding it. So, Prometheus, what did you think? 1 second.
I don't know. I just felt like I was kind of looking at a movie trailer, the way that it was put together. And yeah, just classic propaganda, when you take into account the preemptive measures that were taken before the Stop the Steal event. And then afterwards, the demonization that took place. And I mean, a lot of people probably got misguided and don't know anything about entrapment. So, maybe, yeah, there might have been like Antifa people that were busting out windows. Like I didn't make it over there. I got horribly sick. I got kicked out of work and then I couldn't do anything with the coronavirus. But I'm just assuming the better nature of people, you know, that they were probably misguided. I saw another clip where a barricade was opened up. I guess the police opened it up, and then people were taking selfies inside and all that. So, you know, when you got the Pentagon right down the street, you know, you really got to stop and ask yourself, what's really going on here?
Yeah, yeah. How about Axel? Did you comment?
Oh no, I haven't commented yet. But before I comment, I'm gonna make sure. Let me explain to everyone because the only person basically I know on here is Maurice Delk and is it pronounced that again? Inoji, is that her name? Well, Inonge, yeah, from when she was with you going to. So I don't know everybody on here. So this nose is my shtick. If you have never seen any of my works, my shtick, I wear it for it's a brand.
That's not really your nose.
It's not my nose, and it's but the nose. You know, so I just want to make sure.
Never known, bro.
I don't people say, well, why does he wear that? It's my shtick. That's all it is.
I call him Humpty Hump.
It was Humpty Hump. Call it whatever you want. Call it whatever you want. But it's my brand. Yeah, okay. Because the nose. Okay. So and I know some people don't take it. They say, well, people won't take you seriously. It's a branding thing, and it has to do with putting yourself over to identify, make your own lane, and that's what I did. I did it for that reason alone, and it worked. That's why I'm chased around on the internet and barred everywhere, and YouTube just I messed up their algorithm there as far as getting subscribers, and they're attacking all my channels. So it is what it is. But I'm gonna say what I thought about the videos. I don't like to use the word propaganda that much, other than because let's call it for what it is. It's a BS video about lies. Just call it. It's just a bunch of lies to push this false narrative that they have done since Trump got elected of the white supremacy. I don't know what the hell that is, a white supremacy or white supremacist. I've never met one. I lived in the South I've been in the South for 20 years, 25 years. I went to school here. I've never met a white supremacist. I don't know what that looks like. I'm not scared of a white supremacist. I have a gun now. I never owned a gun, was scared of guns, used to be anti-gun until I left the left and looked around Atlanta and saw that the people here are scaring people and robbing people are Black. So I had to get a gun, learn how to shoot and everything like that. But the video is just typical of the left and what the media has run with this whole racist thing, and they use it as a tool to control the brainwashed MK Ultra Black people in this country that basically they see everything and live their life through color, and that's the only way they can move an agenda is by somehow they have to incorporate race and Black people, and that helps move every agenda they do, even from this virus. COVID-19 crap. I mean, it's a shame. And I feel like when I look around and see the reactions that, the false reactions that some Black people are taking to what happened on the 6th and the overreaction, it's ridiculous because we sat here and went through 7 months of Antifa and BLM just tearing up and burning down cities and businesses. A lot of people have lost their businesses because of a false
and their lives.
Yeah,
the people get shot for being Trump supporters and murdered.
Yeah. And I think it's sad. It's sad, but I think more. I like to say non-white conservatives because I don't believe in going with your skin color. Just non-white because there's so many non-white conservatives that support this president, and it's just a complete lie because. Yeah, Trump won so overwhelmingly. I believe because I live in Atlanta and I wear Trump hats around here everywhere. I don't get any problems, especially from Black people. And I think a lot of Black people support him, just won't say anything because of the mentality of others. That's what I think. So
it was really well put. Mo, what were your thoughts on the video?
The video, I just took it like this. It kind of reminded me of a slave mentality. If you just listen to this, if you just be good, if you don't be good, nigga, this is gonna happen to you.
Yeah.
If you don't be good, nigga, this is gonna happen to you. It's like, they come with the same propaganda. They feed you off lies. They try to fear you. To me, I look at them that they try to fear you with a whip or something, like they're gonna whip you or something. You're gonna get whipped if you don't listen to this, if you don't listen to this propaganda. So you gotta be good, nigga.
Yeah, totally. It's like, you know, when your mom gets mad and she's like about to take the shoe off and you see her like reaching for that shoe. Like that. Yeah, totally. Did it, were you just, I don't know, like a lot of stuff that I see now, I feel like I'm kind of over it, but I don't know, that just really shook me. That video just really like it was disturbing to me.
Yeah, and I said, if anybody believe that, they're a dumbass. That's it.
I think
I'm over talking to you.
I think the part that disturbed me the most was the part about hanging. What wasn't one part that they were gonna hang someone, or who that
they want to hang Mike Pence. I think
hang Mike Pence. I said that was organized. That's the
We didn't even hear that. Did you guys hear? We didn't see people saying that when we were there.
And
like, where did they get that? They could have easily just filmed some other section, because I was looking at the editing too. They could have filmed some other day where people were saying that and just inserted it in the video, made it look like it was at the Capitol, because we didn't see people saying that. We didn't even see, we were in the front. We didn't even see people that had guns. You know, we didn't see a patriot, anybody that had guns. You know, it was just like everybody was really nice. You know, if there were white supremacists there, they would have like lynched us and ate us. You know what I mean? But that wasn't the case. And there was lots. You know what was shocking? Lots of Chinese people there. That blew my mind. From China, they took over. Did you guys see? They took over 2 blocks with cars, and there were Chinese people from China that were in America, and they were talking about how dangerous the CCP was, and they were trying to they were really sweet. They were just like, yeah, man, it's the CCP. They're dangerous. Like, they've done this to China, and they're trying to do it to you guys. We're just trying to warn you. I mean, but you didn't see that. They didn't show that, right? But the white supremacists, that doesn't match their narrative. So, third eye, what were your thoughts?
I was irritated, and I got frustrated, and because it's just the blatant lies, you know. The fact that they're trying to say that pretty much everybody on the left, the Democrat, the left, the liberal, progressive, you know, that they are the moderate America. Like, they trying to paint it like they are the American people, and that anybody that was a Trump supporter is a insurgent or some type of domestic terrorist, which they have no proof for this stuff, but they go ahead and run with that narrative. We all know, like, they keep lying, it becomes the truth, especially in the eyes of the people from the left. So after seeing that, I mean, it's not really much of a shock, because even in 2014, I said that they're going to turn the government against the patriots, and the patriots are going to be against the establishment, and that's pretty much the end game, you know, as far as us pretty much being the resistance once again. So I shared it on my social media. All of my social media collectively, I reached over 4 or 5 million people, but this is throughout years of having it. You know, and I told them, I said, check this video out, make sure y'all thumbs down. If you can say, you can thumbs up, tell everybody, hey, thumbs up my video, you can tell people thumbs video down too. So that's pretty much what I did. To check it out, thumbs it down, and if you look at it, they got more thumbs down than thumbs up.
Oh yeah, and the comment section is glorious.
Yes,
yeah.
it is.
But the thing that's disturbing to me is that the news is running with this rhetoric too. And they're trying to say that we're going to make lists, we're going to come after you. These people, we need to deprogram the Trump supporters. They need to be re-educated. I'm like, oh, I didn't know we were in Germany. I didn't know this was China.
CCP.
You know? Huh?
Classic CCP.
Yeah, like I was, you know, so I think, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if he was even paid or encouraged in some way under the table to make that video, because it's serving the narrative of what they're trying to do and the intimidation of what they're trying to do to people who are, you know, who don't want to vibe with the narrative. Citizen Man, what did you think?
Well, I hope you guys can hear me better now, but a whole different angle to it is what we witnessed at the DC Capitol was a coordinated military style operation conducted by a massive insurgency. And in this insurgency, we have, oh, it says my internet connection is unstable. Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you. It's
In
just so
this
slow.
insurgency, we have several components. One of the components would be the guerrillas, which would be the Antifa and Black Lives Matter guys that showed up dressed as Trump supporters to commit the actions to create narrative. The second component would be the second. Well, I'll just continue. I hope you guys catch what I'm saying. But the second component would be the if I turn my camera off, maybe it'll broadcast better. So let me.
Yeah, it's a little better. So
the second component of the insurgency would be the propaganda arm, and in the propaganda arm, their job is to sell the narrative based on the actions created by the guerrillas. So when Black Lives Matter showed up dressed as Trump supporters and committed all the violence, then the media, who were part of the insurgency, went crazy, putting out all this information saying Trump supporters are violent. Okay, Trump supporters are violent and so on and so forth. And this video is just another part of the propaganda machine, the propaganda campaign, but it just happens to be one of the more egregious ones with more blatant lies in it. And they use the racial narrative because they know that Black people have a lot of sentiments about slavery and racism in the history of this country. So they're trying to now weaponize those sentiments to divide the people up racially because, well, if we're divided, then they'll always have control. And that's basically what the play is. So it was a coordinated military style insurgent operation, and this video is just simply just a part of it. And once you understand that, you know, getting the bad feelings and the emotions that come along with seeing these lies being told, it kind of alleviates that a little bit and puts you back in a more logical space. You know what I mean? And then it makes it easier to counter the points being made and do what we're supposed to do as counterinsurgents, which is put out the real narrative. And that's exactly what we're doing here today.
Yeah,
Are you?
For sure. Kayla.
It's a whole bunch of disinformation, more brainwashing, you know, to deter people from the truth. And I'm like Axe Truth there. I'm originally from Ohio, and I grew up around all whites, basically, and I don't know not one white supremacist. And I as well was in Berkeley, and I didn't meet any white supremacists that actually protected me in Berkeley. And then I know one of the guys that got arrested, Baked Alaska. He worked with me on my campaign, and he is far from being a white supremacist. He is a very sweet man that was just, you know, covering what was going on. That he did go, I guess they went and got him, and he went to jail. And we're trying to find out because they're taking these people and they're not telling people where they're taking them. So we're trying to find out where he's located at, because, you know, he's a really nice guy. But, you know, if they go out there and they do their own research and, you know, compare with this information video that they have put out, they will see for themselves that this is a bunch of BS. And the truth is in the it's the news, the CNN, the MSNBC, they're not going to put the true news out there. You have to go and look at other platforms to get the truth. So, you know, this is what people need to do instead of just looking at one video and taking it as the Bible truth. So I thought that, you know, was, you know, very disrespectful. You know, the American people were there to voice their opinions. They're not happy with what's going on in our country. And they were, you know, out there as freedom fighters, you know, so, but of course the left is going to put whatever narrative out there to continue to brainwash the masses. So that's what I thought about it all. Bunch of BS.
All right, Red Pill. Red Pill. Unmute yourself.
Hey everyone. Hello?
What did you think of the video? Yeah. This is the question is, what are your feelings about the video?
Well, I mean, of course, it definitely, like, everyone's input has been 100% active, you know, accurate. It was definitely a psyop. We definitely had infiltrators. It was definitely, you know, like KAILA said, like, it was, everything that you guys said is true. You know, they keep bringing up old news. They keep bringing up quotes that Donald Trump said 2, 3, 4 fucking years ago that have already been debunked. You know, they keep bringing up the Proud Boys. They put Enrique Tarrio's face in the video and he wasn't even there. I mean, this is how freaking desperate they are. They're swinging, they're grasping at straws to extract every little bit of potential racism that there could have been. And, you know, the craziest thing about, you know, where I was positioned, and I don't want to say too much now, but the craziest thing about where I was positioned in the rally, it just was appalling to me, because on our side of the building, it was nothing but cops shooting tear gas at us and hitting us with rubber bullets. On the other side, the doors are opening and people are walking in, and they've already picked up it. But the result of this has literally been an open license for a witch hunt. And there's a part of me that truly believes, you know, maybe, you know, not maybe, but, you know, there was definitely we were massively manipulated. Us as the patriots were massively manipulated to be there. They needed to have agitators. They needed to have Antifa in there, because they know patriots don't have those kind of morals, don't have that lack of morals. You know, they know that we don't really want to fight cops. We're not trying to fight cops. You know, are there a few anarchists and libertarians on the conservative side? Yeah, but even they don't want to fight. Not really. You know, so that wasn't the energy that I felt. That wasn't what I saw. I'm sick and tired. You guys are, you know, if you know anything about my channel, you know, I rock with the Proud Boys quite a bit. You know, I'm constantly defending them.
Your boy.
Yeah.
They protected me in
You
Berkeley.
mean you rock with white supremacists?
All the time. All the fucking time.
Those are the best parties, man. They have the best beer.
Girl.
Yeah.
Okay.
Girl.
I like the 3%ers too. They're good too.
Hey, shout out to all the other white supremacist groups.
All right winger in the house.
Yeah, white supremacy.
White lives matter.
White supremacy.
White lives matter.
Yes.
Oh man, we're all gonna get picked up now. All right, so everybody, make sure that you stand by and stand back, strap up, get your, you know, Axe Truth. You know, Axe and I know each other personally now. I love you, Axe.
Love you too.
You know, strap up, you know, because shit's gonna get real soon. You know,
and hey, I don't have a gun, y'all. Do I need to get one?
Girl, at least get a stun gun.
You need to get the fuck out of California is what you need to do.
Oh,
and by the way,
Same in New York. I had guns when I was down south. I don't have any guns right now in New York.
It's time to get the fuck out, because de Blasio is going to try to kill you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Guys, one
Yeah,
second.
get
Can
a
you,
stun
can you
gun,
guys hear me better?
get pepper spray.
Yeah, we do. We hear you better.
Awesome,
Yeah,
because I
yeah.
just tapped in. I
Yeah.
got off the computer and tapped in on the
Yeah.
phone. All right,
Yeah,
cool.
he's back.
Well, I might just
Keep
make a
close.
mad dash to Alabama. My father is in Alabama, and he's Vietnam, Vietnam veteran. So, and he's right by a military base, and he's been telling me, if anything go down, just let him know. And I'm going straight to Alabama in the country. So
Hey, Kayla.
I have somewhere to go.
Kayla, I'm from, I grew up in LA, but I'm from Oakland and I've worked in Berkeley for many years. San Francisco, many years, even parts of Marin County, San Jose, like Fremont. I've worked everywhere in the Bay Area. And let me tell you something, the Bay Area, they don't care anything even about Americans. So all this Black Lives Matter bullshit is a joke. Look at Hunter's Point. Look at Hunter's Point. Look at Bayview. I fucking work across the street, or my last job before COVID, I worked across the street from a damn methadone clinic right there on 3rd and Carroll. You know what I mean?
Oh, well, I'm a homeless women's advocate for Skid Row, so you don't have to tell me nothing. I already know what you're talking about.
Okay. So where's all it's like you go to Soma, you go to the Mission District, you go to Market Street, everything's Black Lives Matter everywhere. But look who's strung out on the BART station. Black people.
Black people. 95% of Skid Row. Who? Black people.
Yeah. Where's the money, Black Lives Matter? Why don't you put some of that 30 million toward taking care of some of these problems, and then maybe I'll give you a chance. But until then, they're a motherfucking terrorist group. Fucking I'm sorry, any only good commie is a dead commie. These are bona fide communists and they need to go.
Right, yeah.
That is Nazis.
100%, 100%
I went cold to slap off when they talking about they was ready to give them a Nobel Peace Prize. I was like, they ain't did jack diddly squat for these people down here, their own people who are black. No, they homeless. 95% of Skid Row. They're down here dying, living in tents, sleeping on hard concrete. And like you got the methadone clinic is right around the corner where they can get their needles. Rats running in and out of the tents. They got typhus disease. And y'all talking about Black Lives Matter. I said, get the heck on up out of here. Y'all done lost y'all's everlasting mind.
Well,
Girls, black women ended up dead in their tents. Okay, they dying left and right. Ain't nobody covering it. Ain't nobody saying nothing. And I'm like, y'all got the nerve to sit up there and talk about Black Lives Matter. Get on up out of here. No, I just don't agree with that. And and it pisses me off because I know a lot of the people down there and they're good people because what they have done, they let these illegal immigrants come here. They done took over all the public housing. They pushed all the black people from, they done wiped out Watts, put in illegal immigrants. They done wiped out Compton, put in illegal immigrants. They done wiped out Inglewood, put in illegal immigrants, and Maxine Waters district. That's why I was running against her, because those black people were tired of these people coming from different countries and taking over their communities. And some of these families have been there all their lives. And they wanted to keep their community for their grandkids and their great-great-grandkids. And Maxine Waters and all the rest of them, the corrupt politicians, Democrats, let all these illegal immigrants come in, push the black people out, and put them out on the street homeless. And talk about, and then they want to push that narrative, oh, they want to be down there. That's a bunch of BS, okay? Because there's veterans down there who are black, U.S. veterans that fought for this country. They're down there. They got these people down there homeless and starving, and they're going to talk about Black Lives Matter. No, it does not.
Can I just chime in? Can I just chime in on that point really quick?
Yeah,
sister?
go for it. Yeah.
Yeah, that she's making some really excellent points. And what I want to add to it is they use, like I said, the black sentiment to manipulate us into going along with things that we shouldn't go along with. Like, for example, changing the terminology for programs set forward for Black Americans, changing the terminology from Black to minority. See, when they changed it from Black to minority, we foolishly accepted it, not knowing that accepting the minority label would be accepting everybody from around the world who was not white, which would end up putting us at the bottom of the food chain anyway.
Right.
Malcolm X said it in 1963. He said the liberal is more dangerous than the conservative because the liberal pretends to be the Negro's friend and benefactor when he's simply just using the Negro for political gain. And that's literally what they're doing. And now they're replacing us with the illegal immigrants because so many of us are starting to wake up to their nonsense that they can't control us en masse like they once used to. So now they're bringing in these foreign populations who are oblivious to the dynamics that are actually taking place here with the Black people being squeezed out, and they're taking advantage of all these minority programs and so on. There used to be a time when the SBA had funding set aside for Black owned businesses. They changed it from Black owned to minority owned. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, white business owners would put their wives' names on the paperwork and women would be considered a minority. Thus, the Black business owners lose out to white business owners because of the minority label, and the same thing with other foreigners. And what we have to do is, first things first, is we have to find our identity. And the reason why they were able to manipulate us with that minority language in the paperwork is because we don't have an identity. And we've been so busy calling ourselves Black and this and that, we should be identifying as Americans. And when programs and opportunities are set forth, right, when opportunities are set forth for Americans, we as Black people tend to sit back and say, well, what's there for us? What's there for Black people? You know, and that goes back to that Black history thing that I was talking about earlier on a different stream. We bought into this whole Black history thing, not knowing that Black history is American history because we're Americans too. So once we buy into this Black label nonsense, then they can shift us into the minority label nonsense, and then it moves us farther away from being Americans. And that's what we got to get back to. We got to get back to identifying as Americans. And this is why they hated Trump so much, because Trump was bringing us back to that.
And you know what, you're right, because I'm a federally registered contractor with the federal government, and we have you know, monthly meetings, and in the meetings all I was seeing was Asians and Puerto Ricans and basically no Blacks. And then I started talking to them about, you know, how Blacks weren't getting the minority Blacks aren't getting these federal contracts, and that's because they put in Asians come first. They have the regular Asians, and they have the Pacific Asians. Then it comes to whites, then it's Latinos, and then it's Blacks. And then they have them all, well, not whites actually. It's
it will be white women if whites.
Yeah,
it would
white
be the
women, but they don't even have that. They have the what is it? The basically the African, not like different countries, Caribbean,
like Caribbean, yeah.
Pan-African,
Pan-African,
or
yeah, Pan-African, yeah. So they got the Blacks, and they're all in one minority category. And you know, then because you know, I tell them, I said, you know, first of all, the minority term was construed for Black Americans. Not all of these people that have migrated from around the world, that they have now glopped into this minority category, which is wiping out the Black American race. And yes, we should be calling ourselves Americans because we are Americans. We did not, you know, migrate like these other people freely into this country. And they should not be before Black Americans. So, you know, I talked to a lot of these federal agencies and with the U.S. Women Chamber of Commerce about this. I said, because this is a problem. I said, they are trying to wipe out the Black American race, the people that helped build this country, and replace us with these people that migrated here, because the Latinos, they have a heavy footprint in the federal government, okay, that surpasses Blacks. And I've been seeing that. And so, you know, I've been contacting and telling a lot of them up in these federal agencies, you know, about this issue. But of course, you know, mum's the word, because all of them are working in the federal government. That's the problem. These foreign migrant people are in these high positions in the federal government. So until that changes, the Black Americans are continually going to be low on the totem pole. So we have to, fight to change that narrative, because these people should not be in the same minority category with the Black Americans, who are Americans.
And one thing that we can do different to try to start alleviating that, because I noticed this with the Opportunity Zones program that Trump was doing with HUD. A lot of Black people and Black businesses have not really been taking advantage of these opportunities that these foreigners come here and take advantage of. So part of the problem would be our own complacency as well, and our inability to get involved in these programs. So as we sit back waiting for something to be dropped in our lap, the other people who obviously are go-getters because they left their countries and came here looking for something better, they go out and they take advantage of the opportunities while we sit back and complain. So as messed up as the situation is that we're in, we also have to take some personal responsibility for allowing this to happen and asserting ourselves and start asserting ourselves as Americans and taking our spot as being first in line. But the only way we can do that is by taking the initiative and going through the programs, going through the steps. Like with the Opportunity Zones funding, they're giving out $10 million minimums for small LLCs to start new construction projects in rundown areas. And the companies that are doing it, again, white-owned construction companies with their wives' names as the owners, and Latino companies, but you hardly find any Black companies that are taking advantage of it. And the Opportunity Zone thing was set up specifically for Black companies, but because they can't put race into the legislation and all that, they had to make it for everybody, but target certain specific low income areas so they can incorporate those Black businesses that are operating in those areas so they can grow as the area grows. But like I said, our complacency is what allowed this. And part of the complacency is because we've been so distracted with the racism thing, because it's been weaponized, and we've been so focused on looking back rather than looking forward that we lose these opportunities, and we got to quit doing it.
I got a question real quick.
Yes,
I'm glad he brought that up about construction and all that. You know what, man? I've worked in different little construction companies and all different kinds, known veterans that have had them and everything. I don't really know that many. I've never really heard of any Black construction companies. Do you know of any?
Yeah, there's several.
Black owned, kind of like the BET thing. You know what I'm saying?
There's a huge, we have a major Black construction company here in Atlanta.
Atlanta, okay.
Atlanta, and I used to work for them when I first moved here. I'm trying, it's HG Russell or something. I think that's what it's called. Let me look it up. It's HJ Russell. It's a Black-owned bit, but I think he just got indicted for something. Fraud or something. I think it's
there's one in California, but they were booted out by the Hispanics.
See, that's the problem. We have this change in demographics that's been gradually happening over all these decades. And then I noticed that the Trump administration started, putting America first, including Black Americans. And I don't know, I'm just connecting the economics with the demographics. And then, I see this LGBTQ cult type stuff, and they're pushing it on the kids and all that stuff. And you got to understand the intersectionality of a lot of these things, how they all come together, because it seems like a lot of people are really upset, rightfully so, about, I guess it appears, the benign neglect directed towards Black America, right?
Hey, Prometheus, though, let me just build off what Prometheus said real quick, and I'll yield the floor.
Okay.
That question that you asked about Black-owned construction companies, that said it all right there. The fact that you even have to ask that question proves my point that we're not doing enough to put ourselves in position to take advantage of these opportunities, because there should have been so many Black-owned construction companies that shouldn't even have to be a question. You know what I'm saying?
You're right.
Well, for the Black
Big part of that, in my opinion, because for the past 60 years, we've been 30% of the population in this country. And the reason we've been 30% of the population and not growing is because we go to democratic policies that are taking the father out of the household.
And abortions, the abortion clinics in the inner city communities. Yeah.
Oh no,
Sorry
I agree. If you put poison down, it's up to the rat to come eat that poison and kill himself. And if he doesn't eat that poison, he doesn't kill himself, right? So they put the poison down for us, but Did we take that poison? Yes, we did. You know what I mean? So we still have responsibility to bear regardless of, because if there are enemies, they're going to come at us and attack us however they want to attack us, but it's up to us how we deal with that. You see what I'm saying? And like with the abortion, I don't see any black women getting dragged down to the abortion clinic and forced to have abortions. I see them doing it willingly.
And I see black women, and I see black women, you know, basically here in Georgia, fighting for that right for abortion. Like Erica, the woman who lied about the man, told her to go back to the bald-headed black woman that was I think that's Erica. I can't think of her last name, but she's a House member.
You gotta write a bald-headed black woman. Leave it at that.
Yeah, bald-headed black woman. That she was the sad part about it. She was advocating. She was at the Capitol yelling about Governor Kemp passing the heartbeat bill. And at the same time, I didn't know, her name was Erica Wright, I think that's her name. She was pregnant at the time, and she was arguing for for the right to kill your baby. And I'm going like, she's pregnant at the time, and I guarantee she's not married. So she's a single mother. And it makes it's just the cycle that you see, and to see that you have black women and I advocating for abortion, and there are more black babies aborted than there are born. That's genocide. That's black genocide. Black genocide is being sponsored and co-authored by the Democrat Party and the white liberal and the black church. See, the thing is, this all goes back to the black church. You have to go exactly there.
Definitely don't forget that black church.
I'm gonna go straight there.
Don't get me started on that.
Oh, don't get me okay.
Well,
I put it all on the black church, because they are considered the leaders or whatever the case. And in my lifetime, I've not seen the black church do anything other than pass around a collection plate.
Wow.
You know? So when I look at that and I say, and here we go, every 4 years, you got these, you know, it's some kind of movement, and you see this movement, black people in this movement. I'm like, well, what movement? And then I look at videos, and I'm not that old, but old enough to go back and look at what happened in the 60s and 70s. And I started looking at some of that stuff recently. And I said, what, this is the exact same shit y'all doing today that you did 40, 50 years ago. You're still doing it, and nothing's come of it. You know, it seemed at some point, it just seemed to me that black people wake up and realize you're wasting a lot of time being angry about something that happened a long time ago, instead of focusing on today and working together. The only time I see black people in unity is when they're talking about whitey and talking about racism. That's it. But anything else, there's no unity with blacks, and especially when it comes to this YouTube thing too. I noticed that after I got on it, and I started looking at, you know, because most blacks do entertainment on there, and I ran across this video where this black guy said that, you know, once you get over 10,000 subscribers on YouTube, that you will be attacked, and you will be attacked as from other blacks. And flag, and that's what happened to my main channel. They'll flag you because they don't appreciate anyone that's growing. It's the envy that comes in, and they start tearing you down.
That's not your real nose.
Huh? Oh yeah, I mean, it's in my nose. They start tearing you down because you come in with a different concept. You start growing, regardless if they like it or not. And then, you know, black people are their own worst enemy. Just put it that way. And until that part is straightened out, I can't get with the black thing. I just don't do that. Don't put me in that category. I don't do it. I don't do this. We as blacks, ain't no we as blacks, because we as blacks ain't never done anything for me. Any job I went and got, I got it on my own. When I got promoted on my own. It wasn't because I was black. I didn't get promoted because I was black. None of that shit. It has nothing to do with it. But like the guy that said that, you know, you have these opportunities out here, and if you don't take advantage of it, you just sit there and wait for something to be handed to you. That's just not how it will go. And then on top of that, education has to do with it, your credit and all these things. And it's all about knowledge on what you know how to do. And there's just a complete lack of knowledge in the black community altogether.
Yes.
And the boule class of celebrities, they don't never address it. There's no reason. Yeah. It wasn't brought up the black construction company. The fact that you have to ask that question, I looked it up as H.J. Russell. It's a large company. It's the largest, I guess, the only black construction company in the country. I used to work for them when I first got here, a part-time job. And When I worked there, I can tell you, I knew I wasn't going to work there long because I was part-time waiting to go full-time, but the pay wasn't good. The benefits wasn't good. I mean, and it was just, I said, I better go work for the Fortune 500 for the white man to get what I need because this company's not it. It was just, it was a complete struggle.
Well, that's because, you know, people need to realize as well, they systematically set up Black businesses to fail. They don't give them the resources to grow like they would a Fortune 500 white-owned corporation, and as well as a Hispanic business. So Black business owners are set up to fail because I was on, you know, during all this COVID stuff, last year, I was on a call with the National Black Chamber of Commerce, and that was one of the things that was discussed about, you know, a lot of these Black business owners did not get the PPP loans. So we are already systematically set up to fail because you know, a lot of these banks will not fund a Black business. They will fund a white business or, you know, an Asian business or a Hispanic business, but not a Black owned business. And that as well goes as far as the federal contracts. The federal contracts goes to those other minority races and not, you know, the Black Americans. So the system is already set up to fail in the Black community. That's why they don't have the same opportunities to grow like other, you know, races.
Hold on. Sorry, Verstein. I want to speak after you. Go ahead.
Oh, well, basically, I want to say, do you think that this is like a vicious cycle, though? Because it's like if we aren't organized and we kind of have a history of like not failing, why would people want to invest money into, you know, Black businesses? You see what I'm saying? Like we were just talking about that before. I'm just putting it out there.
Well,
right?
Like for instance, I know this, there was a Black lady, she was in Watts and she had her own store, and there was an Asian store, a hair store right next to her. And you know, her store, she had some clothes, but she wanted to sell more, you know, hair products, you know, for the Black community. And she said she went over to the Asian to ask him, you know, where did he get his, you know, hair at? And then, because she said she had tried on several occasions to get manufacturers to sell to her, but because of the color of her skin, they would not sell to her. And as well, she said the Asian gentleman would not help her. So, you know, things like that, you know.
Well, I know.
Okay, hold on.
They also go and support these Korean stores that treat them like shit. Like one of the reasons.
Community. Where's our sense of community? Where's our sense of community? Jews
You know,
do
like
way better than we do. Look at Jews and how they handle their business. Jews work together. I work for 2 Jewish companies. One thing I learned from them, they got a sense of community that we definitely lack in. Big time.
Yeah. So that's kind of my deal. Like, why do you go, like, you know, growing up in South Central, you go to these hair stores and they treat you like you're a fucking criminal, you know? And granted, there are probably people that do go in and steal, but I wasn't like that. But, you know, I made a conscious decision not to go support these Korean stores that treated me like shit. And it's like, you know, they also, like, you know, if one of their stores do bad, they all pool in their money and they support that one store that did bad for that month. They have more of a sense of a community and stuff that we do. So there's part of me, I get that. And I know that and I have heard of instances too, especially in the hair community, where people have tried to, like, you know, like where the Koreans have basically pushed them out of getting products because they won't sell.
Hold on.
Okay, go ahead. Got your hand raised. Jenny's
I'm so excited.
I just can't hide it. I'm about to lose control, and I think, all right. So, okay, look. Believe it or not, okay, yes, we can sit here and say that Black businesses are systematically discriminated against, or they've been set up to fail in one way or the other. I'm going to tell you what I see in my industry and what I have seen throughout my life, okay? I've been in the restaurant and hospitality industry for almost 2 decades, about 18 years now, okay? I'm 38, all right? Every time I've worked for a Black chef, a Black restaurant owner, a Black GM, a Black front of house manager, okay, it's not the color of their skin that makes them fail. It's poor leadership, it's poor business sense, it's poor skills. You see, this is what the community needs to understand. Not everything is for everybody. So let's take, for example, the PPP loan. It's not just because Blacks weren't being denied the COVID relief PPP loan specifically of the color of their skin. You know why they were? Because they had bad or no business credit. Okay, there are sometimes other factors that come into play here. Let's take the example of the Black store owner. Okay, listen, you already know Asians are going to take care of themselves. So when you come into this business, you better be fucking prepared to fight for what you need to fight for. So if that means that she needs to hire somebody or put somebody on her board or incorporate her business name under some other business name and have some Asian person come in and get those fucking connections, that's what the fuck you need to do. You see, there's a lack of business sense. There's a lack of tenacity. There's a lack of experience when it comes to Black business owners. Now, if you go work in the hair industry for 5-10 years, and you're doing hair shows and you make the connections, you can probably get what you need to get. But if you just decided one day, I'm going to take my savings and or borrow money from mama and them and daddy and them, okay, and then just decide to open a business without a goddamn business plan, yeah, you're going to fail. Okay, and this is something Axe Truth, it's kind of funny. This is how Axe Truth first kind of noticed me, because I'd sent him a video about this very subject in terms of Black business owners in the beverage space kind of feeling like they're a little bit more entitled than what they are. Okay, there's this idea that somehow because Blacks make up 13% of the population, they need to be 13% of doctors, 13% of lawyers, 13% of teachers, 13% of cops, 13% of entrepreneurs. Well, I'm sorry, if you don't have the desire to succeed, or if you don't have the tenacity to critically solve problems, if you don't go work in an industry for a while before you decide to open your own business, see, that's the other problem. Blacks just want to just work for themselves because they don't want to work for anyone else. Well, guess what? Sometimes you got to work for other people. You got to go learn. You know what? Didn't somebody mention they work for 2 Jewish companies? I bet you learned a lot about money. I bet you learned a lot about invoicing.
I started investing first time in my life. I started investing was for a Jewish company. He taught me how to invest.
And I bet you got a lot of self-respect and experience out of that, didn't you?
Definitely did. I got a lot of offers for jobs after that as well, because the Jewish people see that I work for their company, that they know the people that own that company. That's Jewish community. I'm a part of that community when it comes to the work.
So you're saying you got a little clout too?
Exactly.
The Jews gave you a little clout. Well, guess what? I've been working for white men and Hispanic men my entire career. And the only reason that I'm as good as I am and I can be fucking Top Chef San Francisco is because guess what? I worked for them. I kept my mouth shut, eyes open, do what you're told, keep your ears open, listen, pay attention. Gee, within 6 years now, I'm a manager. How about that?
Let me jump in real quick.
Next.
You know, I kind of agree with you, but on that call that I was on with the National Black Chamber of Commerce, it was Black legislators, Congress, Board of Supervisors. These were top professional people from all across the United States that was on this big conference call. So they were complaining about them not getting, in the Black community, not getting the PPP loans, because we as well had the economic director from the White House on the call as well, because he said, of course he was Caucasian, he said that he wasn't aware of all of this. So after that conference call, then they did funnel a little to the Black community. So, they were not able to get these PPP loans. So, there was a lot of top elite Blacks that were on this call. So,
I mean,
but I understand what you're saying because, because Black people, once they get a little bit of something, then they start turning their nose up to their own community. So I totally understand what you're saying about that.
And
Well,
let me
I mean,
go ahead, Ax. Sorry, go ahead,
okay.
Ax.
I mean, I just find that hard to believe that every time I hear them a person say, well, Black people weren't getting this PPP loan because they were Black. I find that that's just to me sound like a blanket statement as an excuse, because I know a lot of people who got PPP loans that were Black that got it and they weren't supposed to get it fraudulently. And all that shit's gonna come out, all these people who took advantage of these government programs from PPP and the unemployment, filling out that paperwork inaccurately. You have to qualify. You have to qualify and all that. So I can't buy that because of the race thing, because they don't ask on there, what's your race on the application? I know it don't ask that.
Yeah.
So, and when it comes to Black businesses, and I think what Red Pill Rage was basically saying, the marketplace is where you compete. There's no such thing as a Black business. I hate that word because there's no reason I'm going to support a business because it's a Black owner. That's dumb. That's absolutely dumb. I mean, you have to compete. You have to earn my business. You have to give good service. You got to know how to do business. That's how it works. No one is obligated to come to you and to service to come to your business because you're Black. I think that's the most racist and demeaning thing that is being promoted through corporations, and they're doing it now.
Yeah.
Support Black businesses. These Black businesses, it makes Black people look handicapped.
Like we're invalids. I hate that shit.
Okay. Let me chime in on this one. I'm saying from experience, every time I support a Black business, I come up with more money. Black business always jack prices up in Black neighborhoods. Support a Black business, but you go to a Black store, a corner store, they jack up the honey buns to $2. They jack up everything. I'm dead serious. You end up coming up out of more money supporting Black business, and you still trying to, make ends meet over here too. So I personally think a lot of Black businesses are ripoffs.
I'd like to say something. I think that
the whole thing is a psychological
Black population
manipulation.
in the United, can you hear me?
It's to put you in the victim zone and then to take advantage of it.
Okay, can you hear me?
So that's what they do. Support Black businesses is just to make you feel like if you don't go and buy their products or service, that you don't support Black people. So it puts you in a position where it's like a victimized thing. You know what I'm saying? Where
almost like a bullying
tactic.
It is a bullying tactic. Psychological bullying. Yeah.
It is a bullying tactic. But my whole thing is when we talking to each other, we have to recognize our cons, which is conservatism, right? That we support the Bill of Rights. The oath. A lot of people like the oath of office, like myself, or 11-year veteran in the military. I trained hundreds of soldiers. I counseled hundreds of soldiers. So when we talking about Black people, we have to address the issue, which is the leftist ideology of those Black people. Because I'm sure we own businesses, if not, people that own businesses like us are better Black businesses. I mean, that's how we work, right? So if we're gonna say Black people, we need to say as leftist Black people, because I don't associate myself with their ideology.
Oh yeah.
And I won't treat people bad, and I won't jack prices up. I don't do. I won't do stuff like that. But when you say Black people,
now that you guys can actually hear me, you can hear me, right?
Yeah, we can hear you.
She was trying to go. Yeah.
Before I forget my thought, my theory is that Blacks in America have been experimented on since probably the 1960s. There's been this long-lasting experiment, psychological manipulation on us through the education system. What can we do to people to make them hate themselves? And now they've refined all of these different experiments on us. They're rolling it out with the coronavirus on the rest of the country. I wasn't born and raised in the States. My mom is Black American from Austin, Texas. That's where I am right now. But I grew up in Africa. My dad is South African, and I mostly grew up in Lesotho. And I started coming to school here when I was 12. I mean, there was like 1 year I came to school when I was younger, but seriously. And I went to Howard University, and that's the first time I encountered Black people who were talking about the man, right? So it's like I'm walking down the street and there are these brothers and they're like, yeah, the man. And I was like, the man, you know, capital M. I was like, who's the man? Like, I didn't understand.
Where is he?
My first introduction to this victim mentality, and it's like a religion to them. And so they were always like, yeah, I would say, they'd say, how you doing, sister? And I'd say, I'm fine, brother, how are you? And they'd say, oh, just trying to survive, trying to stay alive. And I'm like, how do you try to stay alive? Like your body is on automatic. And if somebody attacks you, you're instinctively gonna try to protect yourself. So who tries to stay alive? You know what I mean? So I was introduced to all of these different Marxist concepts that had been, you know, probably since the 1930s brought into the Black community, but they really put it into overdrive in the 1960s. And they have indoctrinated Black people since like really, really tiny, that to see ourselves as victims, to see ourselves as perpetual victims. We come from slavery. We were nothing before that. We'll never be anything. I can't tell you how many times in the Black community, somebody started a new business, right? But they weren't in the room. And the other Black people in the room said, oh, I'm not going to support his business, you know, because Black businesses fail. And then everybody else in the room is nodding, right? So they would actually they would decide right then and there, we're not going to visit so-and-so shop because Black people don't know how to do business. So it's this really, really deeply ingrained self-loathing that Black people have that doesn't even come from us. We're being told, oh yeah, our whole reason for being in America, the whole reason is to bring down white supremacy, right? But who's funding white supremacy? George Soros. One of the biggest white supremacists, Karl Marx. Black Lives Matter is they're like acolytes of Karl Marx, who was, you know, a vicious racist. He hated God. He wrote about his conversations with Satan. He was one of the most evil, depraved people. And his theory is responsible for hundreds and millions of people being killed all over the world. And we don't know this. You know, as Black people in the United States, we have absolutely no idea. And then they use this BLM to pump up our egos, and we're up on this pedestal and we're like, yeah, we're getting attention now. Yeah. You know, I mean, it's just absolutely evil. It's demonic. And my theory is, if anybody tells me that that group of people are, you know, subhuman, they're stupid, they're backwards, whatever, all that tells me about that person is they're trying to manipulate me, you know? And it's absolutely tragic, because now we're being indoctrinated into feeling like we're the ones with the thin skin, right? I wrote a really long post that Facebook took down twice, and I was talking about Black Lives Matter. And I said, well, you know, in the beginning it was Black Lives Matter, like the life of a Black person is important and it matters. And then not soon after, it became Black Lives Matter, as in matter, material. Black lives are material. What are materials? Materials are commodities. What are commodities? They're raw materials for building stuff, or maybe they could be cannon fodder. You know what I mean? And it's just, it's like we don't even know who we are. And this whole push to dismantle white supremacy, everything that they're doing is bringing white supremacy into our world. And especially, this really gets me. There's so many educated Black people who they're not educated, right? They're so like they want to be seen as progressive, you know, like I'm progressive, I'm modern, I have 3 degrees, I have advanced degrees, I'm educated, I went to an Ivy League university, I know so much. And they're like this, the head and the heart are totally disconnected.
By the way, when I hear a complete idiot, when somebody tells me that, I see a complete idiot when they're done talking. I'm like, oh, you're a moron, more than likely. You're brainwashed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just because you have degrees don't mean you're educated.
Well, I mean, you think, I mean, I think if one thing I've learned since, you know, in my adult life, and I've met Black immigrants, and I'm so impressed. They all have almost the same mentality about when they're here. I just had an immigrant, he was Jamaican, who fixed my air conditioning here, and he started his own company. He started it here in the South, but he learned his craft in New York when he immigrated here and worked for an air conditioning company owned by a Jew. And then he came here and he opened up his own business. And he talked about how long he'd been here. He's been here 28 years, have 8 kids, and he's never had a government handout. But this Black Lives Matter thing, when you look at the trauma that Black people that is systematically, when Black people talk about white supremacy and the system, you know, you have to first understand where all this stuff comes from and who's driving that. And it's the people on the media, on Hollywood, on music, and everything that is being sold to Black people is trauma-based, race, I mean, it's all negative. And for Black people to say Black people got so much education here, the smart ones buy into the victimhood and resell it, just like the boule class of celebrity. They sell victimhood, and this Black thing is that it's a handicap to you and something is stopping you because of your color, your skin, but everybody else who's talking this shit, they're successful. Like the immigrant, now this one immigrant, she's a Black female, she's on Real Housewives of Potomac. She was here only this year, and she talked about her 4 degrees. She's from Nigeria, but I mean, I look at her as a phony, and I know she's a phony because it's her job to promote leftist ideology. I don't even think she signs on to it. I think she voted for Trump, but that's her job, you know, to sell that. To sell that destructive death ideology. I call it it's called they selling a death ideology to Black people, because everything that's coming from the left and Black Lives Matter is strictly Black genocide. We had more murders in this country, in this country's history last year, in the year of Black Lives Matter, and those deaths and those murders were Black by Black. Yeah. Who's going to address that? What intellectual and what celebrity is going to say, hey, wait a minute here, we have a real problem here? Because all this has been about white folks and white supremacy, but the people who are killing Blacks are other Blacks. And until we just, until they, I'm gonna say they, because I'm not getting into that, till they acknowledge that this Black Lives Matter shit and this manipulation that's going on with Black people, this fake manipulation that Black people sign on to and adopt in this fake ass racism thing. I'm not saying racism don't exist. A lot of people look at it, I say racism does exist, but we have to call it for what it is. Racism is when you are denied something because of your race, goods and services. And I just don't know where that is being done at in this country. So it's always a fallback and a crutch until Black people get that kick that crutch away and realize you got to come out, you got to fight, you got to compete, and you got to get out here and compete and stop with the, oh, because I'm Black, this is how I'm gonna be perceived. Or are they gonna stop me from doing this? The crabs in the bucket, the crabs in the bucket problem that Black people, that I see what goes on in the Black community, you can see it here on YouTube, is embedded. There's no unity. There's no unity in that. So
exactly.
You know.
So kind of humping off that last question, I'm trying to, you wanna say something? Go on, Inonge.
Oh no, Jenny
wants to say something. Jenny's being polite. She's using the icon to raise her hand. Yes, Jenny.
There's an icon?
Yeah, there's a little button you can push it.
Unmute.
Or maybe she doesn't know. Unmute, Jenny. Unmute.
Okay, I see it now.
You got to start over. Okay,
Hey,
what did you
can
want
you
to
guys
say?
hear me
Yeah.
now?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I did have to roll out, and I just want to say thank you for putting this together, Verstine. I love you. I love you
I
too,
love
Axe.
you too.
And just
Mwah.
to quickly piggyback off of what Axe said, this is my 1-minute elevator pitch. So listen, everybody, I'm putting together a Roku and Amazon Fire Stick TV channel because Fox News sucks and OAN is boring as shit. And we
Yeah.
are so much cooler than Newsmax. So listen, I'm not I'm not about the crabs in a bucket, and I'm doing things smart. So listen, I'm getting an offshore server in Amsterdam to host this because I will not be silenced. I don't want you guys' messages to be silenced anymore.
Girl,
It's time to
I wanna-
level up. If you guys
Yeah.
want to be on my channel, obviously Axe, Verstine, you already know you're in. Okay, you already know you're in. There will be some audio requirements and video requirements because guess what? We don't do things half-assed because we not like the liberals, right? We do things the right way, and we're gonna make sure as long as our content is good, concise, and I'll help you guys do some editing. I'll help kind of guide you and produce you so that we can have, solid 30-minute or 60-minute shows. And all you got to do is just get on board with me, and we're going to take this shit over and do it ourselves. Okay.
How do we reach you? How do we reach you?
Just contact me. Contact me and I'll.
Yes, please.
Good idea.
And listen, even if you don't want to do video and you just want to do audio, I'm gonna put you on the podcast. Okay, we got this. We got this.
Yeah,
okay.
I need help with that actually.
We all need to network together, to help the masses, the brainwashed masses. So I totally agree with you. So we all need to stay in contact with one another.
Yeah, it's time to unite, and if we pull all of our audiences together, this Roku channel, it's going to be ours, and everything will be hosted offshore, okay? Because that's what the white people do.
Okay, exactly.
All right.
My
Bye.
crackers.
Have a great day. Have a great day.
I love you, Axe.
All right.
Join them. Bye.
Bye.
All right, so helping off that, I wanted to ask, I kind of skipped the other questions because I feel like some of them were being answered as people were chiming in. But what do you think our ancestors would think about BLM?
Oh, wait.
They rolling in their graves.
That's what I was gonna say. They rolling in their grave. My dad is rolling in his grave right now.
Yeah. Well, my dad is still living,
grandmama.
and he is pissed off. I can tell you that much.
Man. Yeah.
I'll tell you something. From being born, I have to tell you, from being born and raised in Africa, number one, nuclear family, number one. It all starts. Man and baby.
Yeah.
Men are the head of the family. This is traditional Africa, even before Christianity, right? It's like the man is so important, so important. I unfortunately am going through a divorce. Why? Because unbeknownst to me, I married a leftist. I was with him for 10 years.
So you were the alpha.
God bless you.
I was. Yeah, he was. I'm telling you, but I didn't know. I didn't understand. Like, why is he doing everything upside down? And like, why? But now, like, in retrospect, and I've been reflecting on it, I'm like, oh, he was raised as a leftist. He's got a total leftist mentality. No wonder. If I could have it otherwise, we'd be together, we'd still be married. So for me, this is heartbreaking, but
I'm
so sorry.
It's destroying my family. And I just I have one life. I gotta do right by myself and my kids. But anyway, in Africa, marriage is so important. I mean, marriage is so important.
Yes.
Men are so important, and men are so loved and appreciated. And this leftist BLM Marxist thing, I mean, it blows my mind.
Yeah.
That mentality to destroy the Black man in America, like every level, mind, body, and spirit, absolutely destroy. When you destroy the man, you destroy the family, really. And then some of us women are left just trying to keep the pieces together. But honestly, it's a spiritual destruction of Black men. Black men constantly are being attacked on every level.
Heterosexual.
It's just
Heterosexual. That's I mean, as a
Sorry, I had to just look at it.
oh, I mean, it's basically what you putting that in there is exactly what it is. And I called it out as a gay man. I saw this shit in when I left the left and I started looking around and seeing what was going on. And I said, are all the Black men in this country gay? I said, because it's like the way they are selling it, and look at it on television. Every gay man, every Black person, every Black man that I've seen on television, they either homosexual, sexually suspect, feminine in some kind of way, and it's just like that's the way that because they fear masculine Black men. And I said, this is ridiculous. And this alphabet, but that's a part of another way to break the family, to break down that family, make all confuse all the kids, have them growing up with this. And then when Reverend Williams said that about a Black female cannot raise a man to be a man, he was 100% correct about it, because that is the problem. A lot of men, and I noticed that when I got on YouTube, I said, one thing I'm not going to do is I'm not going to be arguing with Black women, and I'm not going to be arguing with Black men, leftists, I'm not going to do that, because I already know where that comes from. They're feminine. It's a feminine trait to have a angry reaction to something someone said, and you continue to watch their videos, and you don't like what they say, so you're basically arguing with a man that has feminine traits. To be argumentative instead of to be.
Let me tell you something. For years and years and years, my husband and I went to therapy for years, marriage therapy, years and years and years. Who was the one cried? Who was the one who was crying in the therapy?
Oh, wow. Beta.
I'm just
Prometheus like
a little
crying shit again, guys.
You know what I mean? And he's like,
I'm sorry.
He would cry whatever he wanted to get. He would cry to get his way.
Oh God.
That's
The Me Too cry. The Me Too cry.
That's a weak man. That's a weak man, girl. You did yourself a favor.
You made me put on a cigarette.
Me too.
I have to tell you, like BLM, I think they took it off of their website, but like their goal is to take the Black man out of the family, and they're freaking using African philosophy, African tradition, African thought, and using Africa to justify their bad behavior. So, there's this proverb in Africa, it takes a village to raise a child. Well, they've taken that and they've twisted and perverted it. And now they're using that to justify Black men not being in the home. And they're saying, oh no, it's the parents who raise the kids, and it's the grandparents who raise the kids, and it's the village who raise the kids. But that is absolutely anti-African. You know what I mean? Because it's like you have an individual, two get together, they have kids, and then you grow outwards like this. And yes, extended family is involved, and grandparents and aunts and uncles are involved, but it takes the genesis, the two who create that new life. You know what I mean? And it's, I think that systematically over time, and like I said before, these forces, these people have been experimenting on Black America for decades to figure out how they can get control over everybody over the world. They love communism. This is total communism, make the family as weak as
That's the attack
possible.
though, now. That's the one that you're talking about.
I'm out, everybody. I'm out there, but I gotta go to work. It's a pleasure, y'all.
It's great.
Dang, Mo. I'm just kidding. Thank you, Mwah. Thanks
Mo.
for
Good to see you
coming.
again.
Nah, all right,
You
y'all.
on the show today, Mo?
It depends. I get off late tonight. Yeah, I'll do a fuckery panel. All right, I should. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll
see you later.
Hey, promote
Thank you,
this. Promote this. It's coming out. I'm trying to have it up by Monday.
I'm definitely gonna promote it. I'm definitely gonna promote it.
We all gonna promote it.
This is good. This is great. You know how much I talk, and I barely talk. I'm just listening, so like.
Yeah, I've been listening too. I'm looking like I'm early in the morning. Like I'm not a morning guy. I'm like a third shift guy, and I just be ranting. And I'm just chilling.
You got
I was on Kelly's channel, Mo's girlfriend, until 4 o'clock in the morning. So I'm surprised I'm up.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
What's up,
have
Ash?
a great.
This is the first time I've ever spoken to you, man. It's the first time we ever spoke, man. Much love to you, brother. We got to link up.
Wait, who are you talking to?
Axel,
Oh
the
yes,
Humpty
we
Hump
definitely.
guy.
Oh yes, definitely. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
We've talked through chat, but the first time
Yeah.
we visually.
Okay.
I even gave you my number. We just never linked up and stuff, man. We, you
Yeah,
know.
well, just contact me. I'll contact you guys if you want. So.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
All
Thank
right,
you. Have a great
Christopher.
day.
I think Christopher was the last. Oh.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gone. I'll see y'all.
All right, Christopher wants to say something.
I'm just going to build off what Anonge originally said earlier, when she said, like, when she just said it again. She said it's been an attack that's been happening on the Black community since around the 30s, which is true. What the attack initiated the day we took our foot off the slave ships. And the first thing they did was take the Black father away from the family, because they knew back then, if you remove the Black father, just put him over here like a piece of cattle, have him reproducing and making kids, and have the Black woman over here with her kids, we can take control of the family at that point. And that's why you had so much bedwetting going on back then as well, because there was no alpha, there was no strong man in the household. And then after slavery ended, the first thing the Blacks did after slavery was they found their family members that were lost, got together and made the strongest family unit of all races in American culture. We had a 6% born out of babies born out of wedlock rate back in the 30s. How do we go from 6% then to 72% born out of wedlock now? Democrat Party policies have been pushed on us for the last, since 1930s on. They've been pushing that, government make the government the father, put the welfare system in effect, give government assistance, push the Black father out of the picture, replace him with the government, and we can control the Black family again. And now we're seeing the results of that. I'm an 80s baby, I was born in 83. I was the first generation of Black children born in the wedlock generation. The 70s and the 60s wasn't as bad. The 80s was like, babies are born out of wedlock now. And now that I'm an adult, I see the results of what that happened. I see a lot of beta Black males, and a lot of Black males who walk around acting tough, acting like thugs, are really soft on the inside. All I see is an angry Black woman trapped inside a Black male's body. That's when I see a lot of these thugs out. I'm keeping it real with you. And that comes from that single parent household raising. And that is, to me, how they've been able to manipulate our community so much, because we had 3 Black Wall Streets back in the day. People forget, they only had 1 Black Wall Street, we had 3 at one time. What happened?
I didn't know that. I know about the one in Oklahoma.
Yeah, I didn't know it was 3.
I didn't know it was 3.
Yeah, there was a couple more. They weren't like big as the one in Oklahoma, of course, but they were Blacks who were doing that kind of setup around the country. That wasn't like an uncommon thing for us to do back then.
Well, I mean, there were people that were inventing things, and during slavery, and it's like people cry and they're like, oh, it's so bad now. I was like, but there were people that were going through Jim Crow and slavery, and they were still making moves and doing things, and that they didn't let that stop them. So what's the difference now?
Look at the Black Renaissance in New York, when Blacks were coming up to New York in the 30s, man. Like, if you look at the Blacks coming, look at the YouTube, look at Blacks Renaissance Harlem, and look at the Blacks who are walking around New York City at that time. For one, it's a mother and a man and a woman married. They got their children, all of them, dressed up and looking nice, looking sharp. And when they interview them, they're speaking very clear, very properly, and they got themselves together. And it's like, go from this to where we're at now with Little Uzi Vert and all this other good stuff. I don't know. I mean,
well, that's why I bring up the 60s, because yes, you're right, in the 30s with the communism, but in the 60s with LBJ and his policies, and then you had these communists in these institutes of higher learning telling Black people, no, you don't have to speak well. We have our own dialect and it's called Ebonics. And in the public schools, teach kids Ebonics because they're not capable of learning standard American English like everybody else can. So I think it's like the more
and the shade room was just
attack on Black people when it became more psychological as opposed to separating people.
Yeah,
okay, go Prometheus.
Okay, so this is where it really helps to be solution oriented, and you got to get to the root of the problem. That's why I'm really happy that everybody's discussing these different facets intertwined with intersectionality and how it affects the Black community. And yeah, you got to kind of like, let's take an economic perspective, compound interest. We know how that works when you invest, or if you put in a trust fund or whatever, and then you eventually accumulate wealth. This is like compound interest on spirituality. I mean, I'm Christian, unapologetically Christian. A lot of people disagree with it. I don't really rock with like the occult and Satanists and all that stuff, but I know how it works. we got to understand the brainwashing and everything, because a lot of people don't understand that there's a difference between entertainment and fantasy and, you know, real life. So a lot of the stuff that comes out from these media outlets, like a lot of people talk about BET, well, it's white owned, but it's entertainment, it's drama filled and everything, but it can affect you on a subconscious level to where you start to entertain these thoughts. So this can, when we look at the law of probabilities, you know, this will reduce the probabilities of having relationships, you know, that actually work out, and it leads to marriage, and it leads to, you know, building a family and all that. So we look back in history and we understand how we got here, and then we can use that to chart out how we move forward. Okay, a man's supposed to provide and protect. You're flooding the country with illegal aliens. You're pushing a giant multinational globalist framework. How's that gonna work out for the man? Let's be real. There have been opportunities that I've tried to take. Just because I don't speak Spanish, I ain't hired. And we'll just say it like that. I don't care if it's a dirty job. I don't care if it's white collar, whatever. I've done all kinds of stuff. Ran out there mowing lawns and doing my own stuff. And yeah, competition is competition, period. But then we, you know, yeah, there were government policies, there was media manipulations, and then, you know, you reduce the probability of, like KAILA Truth was talking about, she actually had this phone calls with these very prominent Black members, and they were discussing, for example, the PPP loan. I mean, I can understand that perspective completely. And then after the phone call, things changed a little bit for the better. We actually gotta pay attention to that, okay? Because she took the action and things got a little bit better. This is how you move the needle in the right direction, okay? So, I mean, entertainment is entertainment. There's a time and place for everything. And then real life is real life, period. Your man gonna have to go out there. He gonna have to go work 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours. Sorry, don't blow up my phone all day and all night. I'm gonna make sure you got your house. I'm gonna make sure you got your car, the family's taken care of, all that. But I can't, you know, be with you all day, all night. And I speak off of that with, you know, past experiences. Number two, if the man's gonna protect you, you have to actually let him protect you. So if I'm going out here and I'm guiding you in the right direction, I'm making your life better, you are ultimately getting more money in your pocket. You can't tell me that you don't like money. And this is how I just kind of boil it down. So let me be a man. I'm gonna provide. I'm gonna protect you. I got to be able to provide in order to protect you. Please don't tell me I'm oppressing you. Now, if I want to guide you in the right direction, if I want to say, hey, maybe you shouldn't be dressing like that, put some clothes on before you go to the store, something like that. I'm just saying, just an example. You know, don't shout me down. Don't tell me I'm oppressing you. Don't tell me I hate you. I don't hate you. I ain't oppressing you. I'm trying to save you from a potentially bad situation coming in your direction. Okay, and a lot of what I'm speaking about is from personal experiences. Dated Black women, love Black women, dated different races of women. Unfortunately, my personal experience, can't talk for nobody else. Now, Black women got to get a little bit out of that victim mentality. You know, if I care about you and I'm gonna make your, if I care about you and I'm gonna make your life better, I help you, you help me. It's not I help you and then you attack me. Yeah. And then we can move forward from that. Then we can get this money. Then we can get this education, get into those high level positions so that we can better our community. And then when, you know, it takes decades or whatever, but you will build up that collective wealth. You will have more, for example, construction businesses or you know, hair and nail shops that you own. Also Black media. You know, a lot of people disagree with me. Fine. I'm still gonna stand up for the Black community. I know I'm mixed. I'm still, you know, whatever you want to call it, foundational Black American, ADOS, whatever. I have lineage. In my ancestry, one of my great-great-grandpas or whatever was a general. My father is in the military. So all these things are very, very important to me. And I respect everybody else and all that, but get it through your mind. We here We from here, we been here. So it's highly insulting when you put all these illegal immigrants in front of me. Then you want to use the law of numbers, you know, the law of the jungle, right? Oh, okay, well, we got 1,000 illegal aliens right here and 1 black man. How do you think that's going to work?
And do you live in a border? Are you live in a border state? Do you live in California?
I live right here in Texas. I'm in Houston. The illegal immigration is really, really bad. And this is the spot where they closed down the China consulate because it was a major spy hub. That's all I'm saying about that. But I just want to put the my 2 cents in on that part.
He is 100% correct. You know, I totally agree with you because I'm in California and I have spoken with a lot of black men, and that is the problem. Not only illegal immigrants, as well as a lot of other migrants as well, that they are putting before, you know, blacks, and then they want you to speak Spanish, and you know that is hindering a lot of people from, you know, getting jobs because they don't speak Spanish. And I wanted to also feed off in regards to there was an article recently about, I think they said it's like 64% of black women are single. They can't find husbands. And to me, my thought is now we have, you know, the whole world living in the United States. And, you know, there's black men that, you know, they want that lighter skin and that curly hair type of woman. And then as well, if they run across a strong black woman, that's intimidated, you know, to them, and they don't want them making more money than them. So this is what I have seen in regards to, you know, the black family breaking down as whole, because now we are in competition with the whole world that lives within the United States, which is making it difficult for Black Americans to advance and grow. So it is a problem, and I 100% agree with you in regards, because I know, because my son, I have 2 sons, 2 black sons, and it's hard for them to get jobs if they don't speak Spanish, or they will hire you know, a foreign, you know, person over a black man. So I totally agree with you in regards to that.
That's very true, because I, you know, in construction, only time I worked construction my entire life was fresh out of high school. My first full-time job was a company called Long Fence in Maryland, where I just pretty much cut steel pipe and they made gates and fences out of it. And that's how to measure the pipe and mark it and cut it with like a big like cutter kind of thing. But that job back then, they hired me, no problem. I was making $12 an hour with benefits. There's no way on God's green earth that a black American will get that same job now for $12 an hour with benefits. There's no way that'll happen, because since me being 18 to now, the illegal immigrants have been flooding this country since then, and now they can get somebody doing that same job for $5.15, $5.30 an hour, and he'll work twice as hard and twice as long as I would have at 18 years old, fresh out of high school. But I learned a lot when it comes to the job, and learned a lot when it comes to the job market, it comes to my career and what I want to do in the future from working that job for 2 years. It taught me a whole lot. But there's a lot of black youth I see now that are never going to have the opportunity to have that position and learn what I learned, because of the fact that the whole job market has changed so much because of this illegal immigration.
I mean, for one summer, I kept me and a female friend of mine, we had an apartment in Miami that we rented. And with another friend who actually lived there, we rented a room there so we could actually have a place to go when we wanted to go down there, party, hang out, and not have to worry about getting a hotel. And in the process, in the same time, I was thinking about moving down there and working. I work in communications and sales. And the main reason why I didn't move to Florida and living in border, and I see all y'all live in these border states, is because the requirement of, if you don't speak Spanish, it's basically out of luck. You're not getting a job. And I said, you know, I'm not going to go down there and have to do that, you know, because that's not fair for Americans, period. You shouldn't have to speak anything but English here. I don't understand that whole thing. And that's like, you know, and that is the main, a real problem here. It not just in border towns, but a lot where heavily immigrants a lot of immigrants are here in Atlanta now, illegal immigrants here, and it's getting that way here too about speaking Spanish to get employed. And I find that just horrendous in this country, that you have to know how to speak another language and not the
In your own country, yeah.
language, you know.
Third Eye, you're so quiet. Did you want to chime in on anything? I'm gonna do one more question after this, guys, then we can start wrapping it up.
No, you're good.
You good? Okay, yeah, this is great. I mean, I had one goal and then it's totally taken a great turn, but this has been really awesome. So, so the last question I wanted to, unless anybody wanted to harp on what Axel said.
Yeah, well, I know, like out here in California where I'm at, there's people here that expect Americans to speak Spanish, because I was actually asked by a Hispanic, why don't I speak Spanish?
Oh,
and
no.
you know, I proceeded to tell him, I said, you know, this is United States of America and our language is English. And then I don't think it's fair that the American people in their home country should pay for going to school to speak another language that is not of America. That comes from, you know, Spain and Mexico. We shouldn't be put on the hook financially for other country people that have migrated to this country. And as well, we should not be denied employment because we don't speak a language of migrants that have migrated into the United States.
Exactly.
Because there is, there's a lot of Hispanics that have been here in America for 30 and 40 years and can't speak a lick of English.
Exactly. Well, you know what? I speak Spanish, but that's by choice. So I agree, even though I chose to speak, my mom actually, it's weird. My mom actually kind of saw this coming and she forced me to learn Spanish from an early age. And then I actually like it. I like learning languages personally. That's my choice. But I definitely agree. If you grow up in a country, you shouldn't be like, you shouldn't have to learn Spanish in your own country. Another country, like, and when you go to other countries, there's no other country I know that does that.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say that. Like, France don't do it. Italy don't do it.
I was talking about, I lived in Taiwan for 2 years, and you know, they're very, very nice people, very accommodating people. But it's like, if you want to even get like, I forgot the name of it, what's an equivalent to like a green card, you have to like speak Mandarin. Like you can't get it like that. Like there's no way. Like I had to have a visa. I mean, there were illegal immigrants that worked there that were like Americans from other countries that was like teaching English under the table. They were legal immigrants. They you know, they could have gotten deported and stuff. But I had to have they're not as, you know, they're not as lenient as we are here about that. It's just insane. You know, that's why everybody's trying to come over here.
Yeah,
because they know there's so much opportunity here that they won't get anywhere else in the world.
My partner went to France and he said the same thing. He was there and, you know, France
is the worst.
He went there and he has a Southern accent on top of that, and he's white. So therefore they all in the year of Trump, and then he's over there. And if you can't speak French, they don't, even if they know how to speak,
they won't even recognize you.
They look at you like you need to speak our language.
Exactly. I've heard France is like the worst countries.
Yeah,
like
really?
Even if you speak French, but your accent's bad, they're just like, oh, like they won't even mess with you. They wouldn't even look you in the eye. I've heard they're like the worst. They're the worst.
You know, and now Italy was a little different with him. They actually would understand when you're visiting, but France, you speak their language. I mean, no other country does what we do here. And then the fact that when it's time to vote, this is what I find this absolutely crazy too. You got they have voting signs in Spanish in this country. I'm going like,
yes,
I never understood that. I said, what is this?
Yeah, I'm like, I've made that too. I'm just like, if you're not allowed to vote as an illegal, how are the signs and all the paraphernalia and all the flyers in Spanish?
Yeah.
Like, why is that, you know?
Well, in California, they got 28 different languages. Okay, that
for
they
voting?
information. 28 different languages.
Oh,
I said, you know what? All of this needs to be in English. If they can't speak English, to me, you know, that should be one of their requirements for them to become a naturalized American citizen, and as well as them to get a visa. That should be a mandatory requirement.
And not only as a functionality, but it's also just sign of respect, because it's a lot of effort that you take to learn a language. And when you're learning a language, you're also learning culture. So when you go to a country and you learn a different language, it's also just like a kind of an olive branch that you're giving to people, that you've taken the time to try and relate to them and try and speak to them in their language. There's what is that quote that's like, if you speak to somebody in another language, you speak to their head, but if you speak to them in their own language, you speak to their heart. I'm paraphrasing, I don't remember the name of it, but basically, all right, last question. What do you think it would take to wake Black people up to kind of the reality that's going on that will empower them? Yeah.
Wow, that's a really tough question.
Yeah, that's a mouthful right there.
I mean,
I didn't say it was gonna be easy. Y'all
get educated. We gotta educate them. We gotta deprogram their minds. We gotta uplift them. I think I want to say 1 second. You use the word deprogram. That's what they say they want to do to us. So what's the difference between deprogramming them, or like they're saying when we're saying that they're brainwashed? They say the same thing about us. So what's the distinction that you would make between saying that between differentiating us being brainwashed and them being brainwashed or not being brainwashed?
It's all about mentality.
For every 100 people, 100 Black Americans, one, go live in Africa, go live in South America, go live in some other part of the world, and then come back and that, and like, yeah, I lived in this place. I was in this country, and unless I'm part of the royal family, I can't go up higher. Do you know what I mean? And in this country, they live under socialism, and this is what it's like for them. I mean, I think the problem with Black Americans on the whole, and this is like most Americans, is America is such a rich and prosperous and free place. Americans take for granted all of this wealth, right? Yeah. And don't understand. I grew up in Lesotho. I saw poverty, but I also saw spiritual richness as well. But people didn't have running water or electricity. I grew up in Maseru, the capital city. It was like growing up in a permaculture farm. Sometimes I was late to school because I had to wait for a herd of cattle to cross the road. You know what I mean? And it was lovely. I mean, I wish I lived that way right now. But at the same time, people had to work hard manually just to stay alive. They grew their own food, they raised their own food, and they would sacrifice everything just to get an education, And Americans over here, I mean, I really feel like in a way, socialism has been around for a lot longer than we know. And so you've got Americans living on the poverty level, but any other so-called third world country, they're living like emperors, you know what I mean? And so I think most Americans, Black Americans included, have no idea just how rich this country is and how many opportunities, because many other countries, like I said, unless you're born into the elite class or born into a royal clan, you'll never get higher than this. And then they don't have rule of law. You know what I mean? Like if your family members get killed, you can't go to the courts. The police are not going to help you. They're like, well, too bad on you. You're not part of the protected class, nothing we can do. And Americans just don't understand it. They have you can be really, really poor in the United States, still have a cell phone, still have TV, still be able to get around. The government will take care of you. You can get food stamps, Section 8 housing. There's so much. There's this massive, massive safety net. Other countries don't have that. So if one out of 100, one person just goes and spends like a semester or a year in another country, they're going to come back and they're going to talk to the people in their community and educate them. And I'm telling you, if the United States, it looks like United States has fallen to communism already, but once the guns are gone, it's over. There will be no safe place to live in the world. There'll be absolutely no free place to live in the world.
Unless you go live in the woods.
I've got friends all
go
over
off the grid.
you know, and they're so miseducated about what life is like. Like I've got friends in other countries, they're like, well, you know, in the United States and Americans, and I'm like, you have no idea, you know? So that's just what, one out of every 100.
Yeah, I agree with that because, you know, I went to Thailand and I was there and, you know, I seen how their people lived and, you know, how, you know, their economy worked. And I tell you, I was there 2.5 weeks and I was so happy to get back to the United States that I just wanted to kiss the ground and say, thank God that I am from this country, because people don't, you know, like she said, see how other country people lived. We, and I agree too, that Americans, yes, we are spoiled. If you go to those other countries, you won't have the luxuries that you have here in America. So I think they take this, what they have, for granted. So I totally agree with you on that aspect.
And you know, one of the things that when it comes to what will it take to wake Black people up in this country, and I'm gonna bring up someone's name, and a lot of people don't like what she said in this particular comment. I agree with it. And INONGE hit on it, you know, about going to another country and seeing what real poverty is and how these people live in these other countries. When Candace Owens said Black Americans are spoiled, she said they're spoiled, but that applies not only to Black Americans, but to all Americans. You're spoiled because you're used to the convenience of having everything, the access to everything that other countries, people that live in other countries don't have access to. I saw poverty when I left, I saw real poverty when I left this country. And when I saw it, I had to turn my head because I almost started crying because I'd never seen anything like that before. And I was like, we don't have that kind of poverty here. You can live on the street here and living on the street in America and still live better than you would in these third world countries. And I think, I don't know what it would take to wake Black people up because of what you basically, especially dealing with this COVID thing and what I just went through with my own family, my own parents about the vaccine, and they already didn't got their first dose, giving them information. One of the things I think when it comes to Black people, because Black people consumes the most media. I did not know this till I didn't know this. Black people consume the most media than anybody. So that right there, the consumption of media from social media and television, right now, that right there put Black people right there in a hole right there of brainwash and manipulation. And it's, I think telling Black people you have to disengage from the media, turn that TV off, because the people who run on the television, I always call them the Kenites. Look up what the Kenites are and who they are, because you know that's who we're fighting. We're not fighting white people. The Kenites hate white people. They don't like white people either, and them are the fake Jews. Okay, so they own it. And all this that they're doing, the social engineering that they're doing, they ain't working it just on Blacks. They're working on white folks too. They're doing it all over, and they're causing this division of race, and living in this, when we accept that we're all Americans and we're all in the same boat and we all got to work together, you know, because they're working against us to destroy this country. That's why they bring in all these people from third world countries here who will appreciate no matter what it is and how they get it, it's better than where they came from. And so they'll come here and sign on to the new American socialism, communism, because they're here and we have access to, you know, and they'll be okay with that. You know, it's still better than where they came from.
Well,
you know it's funny. Oh wait, let me say this, what you said, hold that thought, because she wasn't able to make it, but American Curls has this great story that when she didn't even know, so basically.
Oh, your sound went out.
Your sound went out.
Sorry, yeah, somebody was calling. The only person that works in the family is the dad, and she has 2 sisters. She's by herself. So they basically spend a lot of time at home. They didn't even know that COVID was going on one day until they went to the store, and they're like, why are everybody wearing masks? Why? I know, I wish she was here because she tells it better, but she was like, because I called her up and I was like, how are you doing? And she's like, girl, we didn't even know what was going on because we don't have a TV. And she's like, why is all the toilet paper gone? Like, why are all the shelves empty? Like, what's going on? She had no idea, her and her family, because they don't watch television and they're Black. They don't watch television. So when you said that about like Black people consuming so much media, it made me think of that situation where it's just like, if, you know, a lot of the reality that is put forth in front of us is because of the media. And I definitely think the media is a huge like source of a lot of our problems in this country.
They're the ultimate enemy of this country is the media.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're definitely the enemy of Black people because they propagate everything that's negative and prop it up as positive. Black people sign on to it as culture. And I'm sitting here going like, I looked at the Shade Room the other day on Instagram. They were promoting Ebonics. And I'm sitting here looking at this shit. And I'm like, well, who owns the Shade Room? Because I want to know who owns that. It's probably a white person behind it, just like that hip hop. What's that crazy website?
Worldstar Hip Hop.
Worldstar Hip Hop. Do white people own that? I mean, I'm thinking because it has to be not white people, Kenites own this shit and put it there, and Black people support it. It's so negative, and you as much as I see Black people being outraged about bullshit like cultural appropriations, if Kim Kardashian braids her hair, and you have these, I'm sitting there going like, wait a minute, why don't y'all get outraged about the fact that on Martin Luther King, the liberal left put out this girl twerking? All of it, I was waiting to see those videos from Black women.
And the thing that crazy like trips me out about cultural appropriation is like, okay, well, you say that people don't like Black people, but then when some people do something to imitate Black people, then you get offended. It's like, which is it? Like,
let me tell you something about that. No, like, pay me. You want to use whatever I put out? Pay me. I want my cut. And
Yeah.
We're doing the culture and we're doing all this. I want my cut.
Yeah, exactly. But okay,
hypocrisy. Braids aren't exclusive to Black people, but a lot of Black women tend to braid their hair. But it's just like, if you see a white woman that does it, it's because she's mimicking something that she likes, and she's giving it praise. Like, imitation is the best form of flattery. Exactly. So my thing is just it's like, cheap. Okay, but then you want to call people racist and say that they don't like Black people, but then when they do something honoring Black people, then you get offended. It's like, what?
And then they complain while they're wearing a blonde weave while they're complaining.
Exactly. From slaves, okay? From real slaves that are existing today. They buy electronics and they buy hair weaves and tennis shoes from slaves that are in China. So the hypocrisy is just like.
Can I try to answer the question right quick?
I want to talk about something that's, it's a little touchy subject, and Inonge, this does not.
Let me let Prometheus go first. Let me let Prometheus go first because he had it before first.
Okay. So I just want to at least attempt to elevate the conversation regarding that question. What can we do to wake people up? I mean, it's real simple. You gotta eventually accept reality. Everybody's got something to bring to the table. Some people are gifted, some people not so much. Some people got more money, some people not so much. To millennials in general, I gotta tell you, put your heads out your ass, listen to the elders a little bit. I mean, that's all I can say. Y'all need to just listen to y'all's elders. They come from a lot of these experiences in the past where things were not so, overt. It was more direct. And then we could reverse engineer this type of stuff. So like when you're talking about old girl twerking on the Washington Monument in front of them little kids on Martin Luther King Jr. Day, identify it for what it is, as disrespectful as hell, period. Okay, to Martin Luther King Jr.'s legacy. And you picked that day, and you actually took some of his speech or whatever, of his voice, and you put it in there. So just accept it what it is. It's disrespectful, just as disrespectful as it is, oh, okay, I'm Joe Biden, I'm in, bring in all the illegal immigrants while I raise up this racist fence around the Capitol, because remember, all walls are racist. We can't have no border wall. Understand how this media manipulation thing works. See, this is why I analyze the media in the first place, because they're the ones pushing it. I don't like it, but I mean, I gotta know, okay, how are they pushing their message? How are they framing it? Well, okay, they frame it this way to profit this way. Okay, they're profiting this way by scaring people this way. Oh, the vaccines, come on, Black people, take the vaccine, hurry up. Oh, you see this Black woman? Oh, she took the vaccine, come on. Or the other one, Black Girl Magic saved the day. We got Joe Biden in. We saved America. This is what it is. You see what I'm saying? And you got to be able to reverse engineer it. Like I was talking about government policies. I was talking about the illegal immigration. Well, we came over here and we got this, that, and the third. That's great. That's wonderful. You were rewarded for breaking the law. You were rewarded for committing felonies. I'm trying to go out here. I'm trying to solve some problems and I'm working my ass off and people are hating on me. I'm trying not to break the law and everybody hating on me. So let's eliminate this crab in the bucket mentality type thing a little bit, a little more unity, a little more understanding, a little more, everybody got something to bring to the table. Everyone, in some way, form, or fashion. And we can, in the long run, you know, save America. And that's just the end goal of it all, because we've seen the lockdowns. We've seen how cancel culture works. The crab in the bucket mentality. Where was it bad? Where has it been so bad for so long? Yeah, I'd say generally speaking, the Black community. Okay, so we've seen it, it exploded. All the businesses got canceled. All the lockdowns happened. People, you know, couldn't go to work and feed their families. Now everybody's affected. So to a certain degree, yes, Black community, I understand where you're coming from. But, you know, with the victim mentality, you know, just let it go a little bit, because now everybody is thrown in the mix. Okay, so we can reverse engineer this, discern between entertainment and real life. It is not bad that a decent person, a good person, a gifted person is contributing to the betterment of all of America, even if it's the Black community. Like some people might argue, well, Trump, you know, he didn't directly, whatever. Look, Ice Cube came through. I appreciate you, Ice Cube, for what you did. $500 billion of investment. You know, some other people came out, you know, like Ice Cube also said, well, look, we ain't all rappers. We ain't all athletes. Okay, T.I., even though he's in this little situation that's going on, he even, you know, came up with something that was kind of catchy called thought prevention. It is not a crime to be a father. If illegal aliens can come over here and get rewarded for committing felonies, it is not a crime to be a father. If you want to spend time with your daughter or whatever, have a little play date, whatever, so she don't grow up, so she don't get taken advantage of, so she don't get ran through by 500 different whatever, you know, people, and then come back in her 40s and 50s and 60s talking about, oh, check it out. Yeah, I'm about ready to get married now. You know, if we reverse engineer all this stuff, then you turn around and say, okay, now we solved the problem. And then you go out and you just go out in real life, man. You be in your little neighborhood, be in your apartment, at your little job, you know, chop it up with some people, grab a couple beers, you know, spit some game and let them know what it is, and then work together. It's not hard.
All right, cool. We have Kayla, Third Eye, and then Christopher, and that'll be it. So Kayla, what do you want to say?
I want to talk about, and it doesn't apply to you and OJ, so don't take this personally. But we also have another big disconnect. We have another big disconnect with Black immigrants and Black Americans, because I have encountered Black immigrants that look down on Black Americans. They have actually told me this, and they feel that they are sometimes superior to Black Americans. And even Candace Owens, she even put a post out there that, you know, Black people are lazy, and she loves her, you know, whatever, I think it's Caribbean heritage, whatever heritage she is. And, you know, and that's also a problem in the ADOS movement, because I'm a part of that as well. And what
is the ADOS movement?
That's the American Descendants of Chattel Slaves with Yvette Carnell. And,
okay.
Yeah. And so we need to address that situation in America, because, you know, if we're going to stick together as, you know, Blacks with Black skin, we need to bridge that gap between Black Americans and Black immigrants as well. Because I did not know until I encountered, you know, women from these from Haiti and Jamaica that they look down on Black American women. You know, it was a, you know, shock to me, because I'm like, look, my ancestors fought hard and died for you guys, you know, to have a chance to come over to this country. So I couldn't understand why they dislike me. And so that's a big problem that needs to be addressed, in America too, because there's a big disconnect in regards to that as well. Because I also had a ex-fiance that was from Trinidad. He did not have one Black American friend, a guy friend. All his friends were from different countries. He could not relate to the Black American man. So his friends that he could relate to was from other countries. So that is a big disconnect that needs to be addressed in the United States if we are going to work together as a whole for all Black Americans. And then we need to stop downgrading one another and disrespecting one another. And as Axe said, killing one another, and come together as a Black race, because we are divided as a race in whole. So that's a big disconnect, that before we move forward to anything, we have to try to come together as a Black race, whether you be a Black American or a Black immigrant to this country. Because if we don't come together, the division is going to continue in this country.
Okay, let me interject right there on this ADOS thing in Yvette Carnell. And, when I saw that whole ADOS thing start up, and when you talk about division, see, I look at Yvette Carnell, I have no respect for her. I'm just going to say that right off the bat. I have no respect for her and all that, because that's injecting this ADOS thing and separating Black and immigrants and this, and there's immigrants. The immigrants that I've come in contact with, the reason they don't share the Black mentality of Americans, and that's the problem. They don't have that. They don't come here with that victim mentality. So a lot of them don't relate to that part. And then the expectation that you're due something or owed something because of your color or because of some history, what happened in the past. See, so when you inject, okay, you start dividing, because you're dividing people. Once again, you're dividing. the Black community already have a lot of division going on in it anyway.
And we're divided upon party
everything.
Too,
and when you bring in Black immigrants and ADOS, you're causing another divisive thing. You cannot unite if you throw in division. And that's exactly what this is. And I see Tariq Nasheed do it. I see Yvette do it. They got this foundational Black American, and it's almost like there's a preference of what is, okay, with their first, immigrants a second. It's like, okay, that's division. You're not gonna ever cure this with adding in more division. You're not gonna cure it, because that's just divisive. It's divisive.
Well, the ADOS stems from, the Black families that helped build this country, like our grandparents, our great-great-grandparents, and like my father. My father is very vocal. He's 76 years old. He's a Vietnam veteran. He experienced segregation in the Vietnam War. But then as well, they still are advocating for what is owed to them for working for this country for free. So, it's not, more of the, I guess the younger generation, is more of the older generation that is pushing for reparations for the work that they done to build this country up for free and died for this country. A lot of, their family members died to, for civil rights and affirmative action. So those are the older Blacks in America that, are pushing the ADOS. It's not a form to, but I kind of understand what you're talking about. Well, I mean, but it's the older generation that is, talking about this movement, because that's what their families want. But there was reparations that were paid to Black farmers. They are getting reparations, and they have been getting it. I think for the past couple of years. But as far as, you know, the Black immigrants, now I just went, from my experience, I experienced this stuff. And they didn't know me from Adam. I just drove up to a Wendy's, ordered my food, and the next thing I know, I got 3 Haitian girls looking at me in the window. And I'm on my lunch break, and I'm like, why are y'all looking at me like that? And then they proceeded to, I gave them my money. She snatched my money, and then she threw my food at me. So, you know, that was a shock to me. And then, you know, I was actually told by a Jamaican that, you know, they were better than Black American women. So these are experiences that I've had with these different Black migrants that have come to this country.
But
so
see,
we do have a division problem between us.
But then that's broad brushing too, is what your experience with certain, like my thing is, how do you identify? I can't look at Black people and identify unless they're speaking on where they're from. Okay, and if they're an immigrant, a migrant, or whatever the case may be. But you cannot, and I think Black people waste a lot of time with worrying about what another person think of you. I find that a very waste of time.
It has nothing to do with what other people think of you. This is about Black Americans and migrants that, you know, Black migrants that come here. Because also when I was campaigning against Maxine Waters, I was approached by Black Muslims who told me that Black Americans would never have a chance to be in the position that they are in the White House, and they have already taken over the White House, and these were Black Muslims. So they do look down upon us.
But that's now you're talking about the Muslims, their religion, ideology, or whatever.
The Black immigrants, I'm giving you different scenarios of Black migrants. But what it boils down to is what I'm trying to say is we need to come together and unite as a Black race, no matter what, whether you're Black American or if you are a Black migrant.
But that's what I'm saying. That's why I say
because at the end of the day, you know, they're going to suppress us all, no matter, you know, if we're here in America or, you know, they're Black migrants. So, you know, if we come together as a whole, I think we'll be a lot more powerful.
Well, the only way we come together is if we stop labeling them as Black migrants. See, when you put a label on something, and you separate these people, and then that's where you got that's division. You can't come together.
Well, we're divided as well. We have a label here in United States as African Americans, and we should be identified as Americans. Yeah. So the label has already been placed upon our race, no matter if you're a Black, you know, an African American, or you're a Black migrant. You know, so we need to, you know, be identified as Americans, and that's it, to break this division.
I'll tell you one thing. If you go to any African country, they're going to see you as an American.
Right.
Or they'll go, oh, you're an American. And you might say, I'm an African American. And they'll go, well, duh, obviously your genes are from Africa, but you're an American culturally. You're an American, because in Africa, we have all these different cultures and ethnicities and languages and ways of life. So I can't go to like Nigeria. Actually, I lived in Nigeria when I was young, my first memories, but I can't go in Nigeria and say, oh yeah, I'm a Yoruba. And they'll be like, no, you're not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like only in America is, and you're absolutely right, Kayla, Black Americans should be like, I'm an American, because that is a culture, or it's their cultures that are uniquely American, that you would not have that experience if you lived anywhere else in the world. And there is too much emphasis on the physical parts of ourselves that we can't change. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's like
we shouldn't have to change. You know?
And it half pertains to me, Kayla, because my mother is Black American, And I didn't really learn what it meant to be Black American until I went to college. And then I really began to understand, because I met Black Americans from all over the country, and then there were Black people from all over the world. And I got to compare and contrast and see all of these different cultures and mindsets and beliefs and ways of doing things. I was at home in Lesotho for holidays, and this Caribbean family came to visit my family, like through my mom. She's Black American, but I took these young ladies were my age, and I took them out on the town, and they were just like so snobby towards my people. They liked my mother because she was Black American, but they looked down on my culture. And I tried to introduce them to my cousins, and they didn't even want to meet my cousins because they felt like they were superior to these African people. They didn't want to identify with African people unless they were a certain level, you know what I mean?
Right.
So it goes, to me, it's an ego issue, like these Haitian women who treated you so rudely. I mean, what the hell is that? It sounds to me like they were just taking an opportunity to feel superior to somebody, you know? And when I started living here in the States, I was treated very poorly because I was from Africa and I had a very thick accent, and I wasn't like the other Black people around me. So I got attacked constantly and relentlessly. But now that I understand the dynamic and the you know, manipulation by the media and the education system to indoctrinate Black Americans into hating African people and feeling ashamed, now I get it, I understand. And I think that like decades later, now you've got African immigrants coming here, and they grew up watching how the media depicts Black Americans. Like all they get is, I mean, BET and Hollywood and the movies, and they're like, oh my God, Black Americans are the most depraved people. They have absolutely no morals. They don't care about the family. They don't care about education. They revel in ignorance. You know, I don't want my kids to have anything to do with these people, but a lot of that is media indoctrination, you know, very similar to what the media is doing right now to, you know, conservatives. People on the left, I mean, it's so funny, like I know all these people on the left who really think that conservatives are racist, evil people. And I'm like, you know, all that says to me about you is that you are a segregationist because you call yourself liberal, but you don't have any conservative friends. You're a discriminator. You know what I mean? Like you're actually, you know, you're pointing the finger, calling, you know, the kettle black, but you are the discriminator. You ought to have, if you're liberal, you ought to have
Yes.
you ought to have friends of every stripe and type. So, I mean, for me, it really comes down to an ego issue. And I think that often when people have the opportunity to feel like their people are better, they'll take that opportunity, like, you know, put somebody down. But it goes both ways. I got a lot of, I mean, I had to physically, you know, protect myself from Black American kids because they called me Jungle Bunny, Jigaboo, you know. I mean,
Did they call you African Booty Scratcher? That one, I hate that one.
I understand it. They didn't know any different. Like that's all the information they got. And you've got people on the left who, when they see somebody with a MAGA hat, they think they're a terrorist. You know, I think it's like it's a very deep spiritual human problem. And the controllers, I call them the pantheon, they push whatever demographic you're in, they push the buttons, you know, to get us divided against each other.
Right.
And they're just, you know, they use myths, stories, narratives, advertising, false flag events, you name it. They manipulate history.
Arts, music, whatever, yeah.
So like Black people, like they're, you know, they use combating white supremacy to actually keep us down, you know. I've been thinking about this a lot. I remember years ago, I watched Oprah, and she had this episode where they were going into a day in the life of different people who made over a certain amount of money. I don't know if it was like 500 grand, and different demographics, and see how they live. And the only thing that I remember about this is there was a young Black woman with a little girl, and she was married, and her husband worked all the time, and he traveled a lot. And they lived in this really, really beautiful mansion in a beautiful neighborhood. And this woman was so lonely. Like, she did absolutely nothing. I mean, she went to the gym, she cooked meals, and that was it. And then they showed a white family. They had 4 kids. They had busy lives. All the kids had after school activities, you know, drama, sports, you name it. The kids were in and out of the house. They had a big family dinner. Friends were in and out of the house all the time. And they made the same amount of money as this Black family, but the white family had this like really, really rich social life, and they were involved in the family and each other's lives, and everybody had an activity and an interest. And I remember thinking, what the hell is this? I mean, what is the meta message? The meta message is, if you're Black and you make a lot of money, you're going to be lonely. You're going to be absolutely cut off from your community. You're going to have a lot of stuff, but you're going to be lonely, like so painfully lonely. If anybody watches you go through your day, they're going to feel sorry for you and they're going to want to cry. And if you're a white person and you make this amount of money or above, you have a really rich life. You have a nice life. You have everything you want, and you have all of these relationships. And I don't know why, like lately, that just keeps bubbling up for me. I keep thinking about it. I'm like, man, like, did Oprah like edit this thing before it was put out, or did the editorial team just kind of like move some things around to give this message? Because like, I as a black person, God, I sound so leftist, but anyway, but like, are they saying you can't, like, you're gonna have to make a huge sacrifice to be successful as a Black person? Like, that's the way it is, you're gonna lose everything? And I think that really that's the message that's just in this culture. And that's why so many Black people are afraid to be successful. Because
That's
it's
the
like,
Boule, that's the Boule message. I mean, she edited that way. Just what you said. I mean, Oprah and everybody behind that machine, they edited that way to put that out there and to ingrain that mentality into Black people.
I want to start, sorry, I want to start wrapping up. I know this is getting good, but I want to give Third Eye and Christopher a chance to close out before we end it, because I'm hungry. and it's going about 3 hours.
It's been a minute. What was the question again?
You weren't paying attention, so too bad. No, I'm just kidding. What do you want? What do you think will wake Black people up? Would take to wake Black people up?
I think we're doing a good job now. Things are, I mean, a lot of the information is getting through slow to them, you know what I'm saying? But it's getting through. I mean, if you look at the Trump vote out, Black turnout, it was a lot greater than before, you know. And I every day I'm seeing new people, you know. But to help people wake up, I think we need to do more stuff like this, to keep each other updated, keep each other in the know, you know, because a lot of us is working, you know, and so we don't get to hear everything. Hold tech, social media, big tech, hold them accountable. You know what I'm saying? If they do something illegal, put their feet to the fire. You know what I'm saying? Because obviously the left is not going to do it, and a lot of people on the right ain't doing it. So we got to do it. You know what I'm saying? We are Trump's biggest backbone. You know what I'm saying? The biggest support.
The common folks, yeah.
The common all he had. People. You see what I'm saying? So we can continue to support each other. You know what I'm saying? We need to uplift each other accounts, you know, because what that does is it brings relevance to other people. That, yo, you can listen to this person, you know what I'm saying? And who knows? I mean,
yeah, well, I plan on doing that with this. So yeah, for sure.
I agree. That's why
I'm so glad I got you guys together, because I know all of you, but you guys have not met each other, and then we're gonna like network and Inonge had last night she had brought up the idea maybe we can make this a monthly thing or something, but then we can have other people come on, and then other people that have beef with each other, we can just make certain panels. Like if this person wants to be on this one panel, but they're like, I don't really get along with that person. Okay, well, why don't we have this person on another panel and you can be on this panel? So we'll still have that community, but we're still giving the people to be the space to you're like laughing, you're just like, well, I think, I think that's fair, because I wouldn't want to be on a panel with somebody I really didn't like and then have to be fake. I'm not that person. You know what I mean? And then I don't think people can be fully self-expressed when they're in a small room and they have to be civil. Like I want it to be an environment where people feel comfortable. So
Right.
I would allow that.
That's what my show is. My show is an open discussion panel. People can join in and, people can openly discuss, what they feel from their hearts, mind, and body and soul. Because I think that's what we need. We need to start having open dialogue like this. And even because, I have some that are on the liberal side that come on my show. But we need to, educate them, as well as, we can all learn from each other. So, I think that's a good way to start, like he says, to start, uniting and awakening the masses in the Black community.
Yeah, and there's a concerted effort to keep us from talking to each other, whether it's done through propaganda for making the other side fear us, like talking about the division between Blacks and Africans, but how about like conservatives and liberals? They're people that I think I'm gonna send my brother this, but my brother's so left. If anything I send him, he won't even bother. He's like, oh, it's propaganda. Oh, I can't. My brother's crying to my mom, like telling the guy, oh, she's in a code. I'm so concerned. I'm like, but like, what? What? Are you serious? I'm having the time of my life.
Oh,
I'm having the
God.
time of my life. I met the best people. Like, it's just, I've been so enlightened. I've been learning so much. It's really, and there are people in my family that think I've flipped my lid and that I'm gone off the deep end and I need mental help. I'm a white supremacist now. Who knew, So yes. So anyway, Christopher, do you want to close it out? What do you think?
Before I'm done, I have something to say.
Oh, I'm sorry. Third eye. You didn't talk a lot, so I'm
y'all
gonna give
cut me
him
off and y'all just kept going. So
I'm sorry. Sorry.
Another thing was us conservatives have to be more stronger when it comes to putting out the message, because I've seen so many people going through a whole debate online and then they just either block the person or they leave the conversation. You know what I'm saying? And that person run off thinking they did something like they won the conversation or they won a debate. You know what I'm saying? Like me, I stand firm on anybody I talk. I look eye to eye, straight up.
Yep,
I mean, I'm
too.
sure. You know what I'm saying? I have an intimidating presence.
Yeah.
I'm 6'3". You know what I'm saying? I'm a big guy. You know what I'm saying? And I have military experience. I walk around like a leader. People at my job mad at me because I done excelled all the way to a mezzanine technician. And that's one of the high positions at my job. So they look at me like, okay, they thought I was the manager when they first came, and it only been 2 years.
That energy, owning that energy.
Right.
Right.
It's all about being confident in what we know. Don't be confident in what you know. If you show any sign of weakness, they will exploit that. They will exploit that. So
well, I think we're all kind of like that anyway. Like, I'm cocky. I don't like that.
Yeah, okay. I got a mouth on me.
Talking too much. But yeah, and that's one thing I think, a lot of conservatives too, they're kind of cowardly, and that kind of annoys me. If I had to make one, I don't like the
I'm in
spinelessness.
Manhattan, the city of the beta males. I see them every single day, every single second of the day. They're everywhere.
You mean even conservative wise, right? Even the conservatives, it's like, I think conservatives, they try and have this persona. And I wouldn't even say I'm necessarily a conservative or a Republican. I'm a patriot. I have conservative values. I have some liberal values, but I'm not, but I think a lot of conservatives that put themselves in this box, they have this idea that they have to be polite, they have to be kind, and they have to be righteous and stuff. And, like I curse and people get mad at me because I curse, you're not a real conservative. You said the F word. You said that video was fucking bullshit. I can't. I'm like, hi.
It's all about being yourself and being honest and truthful.
And own it. Yes, exactly.
I think this forum.
You're not ready.
All right.
I tell you straight up in the conversation. If you're not ready, step out the kitchen. I don't leave the conversation. I stay right there until it's done. You know what I'm saying? I stay right there until it's done. And I say, if you're not ready for this conversation, do not step in this kitchen because I will roast you. I'm so sick and tired of a lot of this. A lot of these people going away thinking they smarter than us because a lot of conservatives don't want to go through with it. They don't want the argument. They don't want the, and then a lot of them, they scared them. It might get physical, But me,
Well, it might.
be strong in your convictions. Be strong. Stand your ground.
Well, you know,
If it seems like it's getting physical, then you leave it alone. You know what I mean? Just all right, cool. You know,
But I think that,
stand firm in what you believe in. That's how we're gonna win.
and I can commend. I didn't know this is the first forum I've ever been in on like this, but I think putting something together like this and then incorporate more people. Now I don't know about this whole thing with beefs with other people and things like, because I don't beef with nobody. But there are
Yeah, but I'm saying there's some people that do.
They have, they have, you know, if they had a personal interaction, I would say that. But there are people,
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah,
will
yeah,
say,
yeah.
well, I don't want to be on the panel with that person because I don't like them, or I don't like. They don't even know the person until you get on a panel with someone. I mean, I think that's kind of very immature to where you can't get on a panel with someone just because of some perception you have that you have not personally engaged with that person or know anything about it.
But I was talking to Chris, there are people that have been on panels and they've engaged in stuff. So, but we would still like hear both of their voices. That's what I'm talking about. So,
yeah, I mean, and then
I'm just trying to find a way to include as many people as we can. And if that's what I have to do, you know, because not everybody was able to make it or whatever, or they couldn't, the time difference or the beef thing or whatever. I'm just trying to think of ways to have all of our voices heard and you know, and be fair about that. That's all.
I got a good idea. So it's real simple. I mean, like I agree with a lot of the points other people are making. Look, be yourself. And I mean, it is what it is. I agree with Third Eye philosophy. Part of the reason why we're here is because everybody's so comfortable. Get out your comfort zone. I've been out of my comfort zone forever. High pressure situations, you know, Third Eye philosophy, you know, he's in the military. He knows what I mean by high pressure situations. Just accept it for what it is. And you know, you can squash the beef, or y'all can have beef with each other and it can still be a constructive and elevated conversation to where there's a healthy exchange of ideas and somebody comes, you know, to a solution. But if you really want to open everybody's eyes, you want to recruit and do all that good stuff, simple things. Like Third Eye philosophy said, stand your ground. That's where I'm at. Look, I'm always willing to contribute and team player, all this, that, and the third. That's cool. Don't throw the whole world on my shoulders though, because guess what? Hey, you know what? I can take care of myself. When it's all said and done, if the shit really hits the fan, trust, I can take care of myself. And you got to have that type of mentality. And because it's a rule of reciprocity that people are constantly violating. And that's the root of the problem. You know, there got to be some reciprocity. Look, you see Joe Biden could go out here with a little quid pro quo. All right, work together. You know what I'm saying? Hey, you know, you got this going on your business or YouTube channel, check them out. Hey, but check it out. Give them a little bit of money. Donate $1. Give them 50 cents. Bernstein Henry, I appreciate it. You know, one of the few women that donated to me, took my ass right down to the border. I saw some stuff. It was really, really bad. The stuff that you're seeing right now, I saw way over there, you know, with the horrible language differences, down to, you know, people looking like they're zombies walking around the street, they're lost, and all that, you know, graffiti art with an ankh, you know, I took a picture of it, I posted, I had a website, it's not active no more, but the next day after I posted that ankh, it was a picture of an ankh on an electrical box. It had 1111, and then it said wish. You know, I saw some giant historic church in France got burnt down. That was just the very next day after I did that little, you know, self-journalism thing. Yeah, you remember. So, you know, like I said, you know, stand your ground. We could debate, and you don't necessarily have to like each other. You know, you go to work with people you don't like, you know, and just try to make something good out of it.
I'm just saying, we'll see. It depends on the situation. But Christopher, take us out.
All right. I think for the Black community, what we really need, I keep saying, I say it again, make Black fathers great again. Bring the Black father back in the household, and guess what? You'll see things change very quickly. I was raised by an Army Major veteran father. I saw the Berlin Wall fall when I was 5 years old. One of the earliest memories of life, watching the wall fall down.
Wow,
so I saw people get their freedom as a child. So from that point on, there's nothing, I loved every little ounce of this country from that point on. So when people are telling me, oh, this country's against you, the white man said, I'm like, what are y'all talking about? My dad was the highest ranked officer on base. I was his son, the most physically fit kid on base. I'll beat all my white friends, black friends, Hispanic friends, in all the sports and everything else. So in my head, I said, this is America, the greatest country in the world. My dad's the baddest dude on base. I'm his son, the baddest kid on base. Nothing's going to stop me. And now people are telling me to be a victim and just bow down and no, you can't be successful. That's BS. We need to eliminate that. And our father will be a big help in helping young people understand at a very young age, not to play victim, not to give up, not to throw in the towel. So that to me is the first thing we need to get done. Sense of community is important as well. I mean, I saw other communities growing up where I felt were very strong communities. When I felt within my own community, I didn't see that structure there, that strength. And my dad worked at Charles Hickey School when I was growing up. I mean, one thing I learned from there, the biggest detention center in Baltimore is the Charles Hickey School. And my sister couldn't even go to school there. I visited the school there at all. I would go there twice a year on like father and son events. And my dad would take me to the school and I'll see these kids, man, these kids looking 11, 12 years old, they're my age. And they will come meet me and I'll like come to shake them hand like all proper. And they're trying to give me all kinds of fives. And I'm like, okay, right. And then we end up talking and, you know, I could tell like these guys are something else, man. They're born and raised on the streets. And they'll walk away. My dad would say, how old do you think he is? I'm like, 17, 18, I think the oldest he could possibly be in that school. And he's like, no, he's your age. He's 11, he's 12. I'm like, what? And I'm like, wow. And these kids were just looking rough, man. And so I was worried about my dad at that point. So I watched the kid to see how they treated my dad. Like, are they trying to be crazy to my dad or what's going on? And when they came up to my dad, everything was yes, sir, no, sir, yes, Mr. Right, no, Mr. Right. And I saw that and I said, wow, these kids outside of this system, if I met them, it would be a whole different ballgame, whole different setup there. But since they're in a structure where they just have an alpha male around them, look how they're acting, how they're carrying themselves. They're carrying themselves like young men. So that'll show me already how important that is, that structure, that sense of community. That's all that occurs. And the third and final thing to me is stop worshiping thug culture, which is to me related to the media. Stop watching the media. Stop, you know, I see these guys, rappers, talking about women as, you know, degrading women, talking about only holler at the light-skinned shorty with the curly hair, all that stuff. I'm like, bro, I think black women are beautiful of all races, light skin, dark skin, whatever skin, you're beautiful. It doesn't matter. So I see these rappers putting out this hysteria, promoting, you know, I'm out here killing this so-and-so, y'all murk so-and-so, and that gets more respect in the community than the dude coming back with a master's degree or coming back with a good career and coming back to his family. That gets more respect. And that even gets more respect from black women because they have grown up on this media structure of not having a strong black man in the household. And they think a guy who's got a crazy mentality is more of a man than a dude who's sensible, respectful, has a good career, working hard. So we need to get back to those three things to me, because once you get back to that sense of community and bring the black community back where it was in the 30s, the strongest strongest family unit in the entire country, then we're going to see what this community can do. And I know what the black community can do because we proved it in America's past, America's history, not black history, American history. We've shown what we can do when we're a strong community. And we get back to that again.
That was so lovely. You guys, I love you guys so much. Thank you so much. This is so awesome. This is even better.
Yay!
Again.
I'm so glad I woke up for this.
Amazing, Steve, amazing job, Steve. Very good job.
I can't believe it's been 3 hours.
I know, I'm getting hungry, but it was great. It was very, I feel energized. Huh?
I said I wanted to say thank you to you. You know, you're like one of the few people. I've been in like a lot of people inboxes trying to get on. You know, and I've seen a lot of people here already. Alex Truth, I shared his material before. Same thing with Christopher. I shared his stuff before, your stuff. You know, and I just be putting people's stuff out there, you know, with that agrees with what we're doing, you know, and whatever I disagree with, you know, and I also state that too, you know, and I want to thank you again for reaching out to me. You know,
you're welcome.
The more, I mean, you could do it, you know, and I'm always free to reach out to me. If I'm not busy, I'm on it, you know.
I can appreciate it. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
I'm honored to be here.
There's so many people.
All right, Verstein, you the connector. You the connector. You got to connect everybody.
Show, real quick, Christopher Wright Show. To start my podcast, I'm gonna be reaching a couple of people in this chat to do interviews as well. So I want you guys to go on.
Guys, give your handles again. Give your handles again before we go. Give your social media before we cut this off. So Axe, start. I'll call you out. You tell somebody Axe, turn your stuff. Where to find you guys?
First thing, why don't you put it in an email?
Emails.
No, but I'm just saying, I'm going to cut this off and then so people that are watching can know. And then I'll also put it in the link.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So Axe.
All of my so everything, all my contact is on axetruth.com on where I'm at on social media. It changes because I get shadow banned and kicked off on almost a lot of apps, but I'm on Instagram as Truth Nation 2. And but the best way to contact me if you want to get in touch with for to do a collaboration or anything is to email me, because I get so many inboxes, but you have to email me at axel@axetruth.com as opposed to the other one, because that email account is flooded with emails. I got like 4,800 in there. And a lot of times I don't get people's emails. It gets drowned out. And then DMs, I get a lot of those too. On my Facebook account, I don't even mess with it because they have basically shadow banned me and I can't go live on that. So I don't even go in that SMS box. I don't even know how to use Facebook that good. So if you're trying to, if you want to contact me through my website email address. And that, because I'm not ignoring anyone or anything. I just I don't get it. And that's
It's overwhelming. Yeah.
But this has been an honor to do this. When you sent me that, I wasn't thinking you were inviting me. I thought you were telling me about it, and I was honored.
Oh, maybe some people did. Oh, okay. No, I was like, do you want to do it?
I was honored. I'm honored to be here and to be amongst everyone. Everyone here is it's fantastic to see these people that I haven't. When you do so much, and I do a lot of shows, I don't get to see a lot of people's work, but I'm actually going to look at everyone now that's in this chat. It's great.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
I just followed you on Instagram.
Okay.
Prometheus.
Yeah, what's up? Yeah,
Where we find you?
Twitter, Light and Fire at 33, or it's at Light and Fire 33. I do have an Instagram, haven't used it in a while. And I just remembered, yeah, I got banned off of Facebook because I shared a post from my uncle, who is an ex-FBI agent, retired SWAT team, basically pushing back against the genocide, the genocide of the Black community. And it was a little clip from Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens, but they were, calling out Margaret Sanger and all that. So yeah, that's why I got banned off Facebook.
That sucks.
So all I got is my little Twitter, and
Anonge.
I got my YouTube at Prometheus Unchained if you want to check it out. Yeah, that's it.
All right, cool. Anonge. Unmute yourself.
On YouTube, questioning.
Wait, start it over. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
On me on YouTube, questioning thoughts. It's a new channel, very new. Otherwise, if it's hard to find, INONGE, KHABELE, and then questioning thoughts, search me on YouTube. And you can contact me at questioningthoughts@gmail.com. And I'm also on Facebook under my name.
Okay. Third Eye.
Okay. I'm mostly on Instagram every day and my Free Thinker Facebook. My Instagram is third.i.patriot. My Facebook fan page is Free Thinker. My Twitter is the EOI. That's under my umbrella, Empire of Independence. And let me see what else I got. YouTube is Third Eye Philosophy.
Okay. All right, Christopher.
My website is www.christopherwrightnyc.com, and that's Wright like Wright Brothers. You can also find me on Instagram and Twitter at Chris Wright NY, and that's spelled out IN, and then not New York spelled out, just NY. So Chris Wright NY, and that's Instagram and Twitter. Then you can look at the Christopher Wright Show, and that's on like Rumble, Gab, everything else, YouTube, podcasts on Apple. This is the Christopher Wright Show. If you just want to find one thing to look for me exclusively, just Google that, and you'll see things pop up that will lead you to certain directions you need to go.
Is it Christopher Wright or Chris Wright?
What's that?
Is it Christopher Wright or Chris Wright on Instagram?
Christopher.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Instagram. I'm sorry. Instagram, it's Chris Wright, INNY. So, yeah.
Okay. And then KAILA.
You guys can either find me on a lot of platforms as KAILA Truth or KAILA Truths with the S, or through my my network show, the Free Speech Social Network. It's the USA Free Speech Social Network. So either Kayla Truth or the USA Free Speech Social Network, or you can email me at kaylafortruth@protonmail.com.
Okay, and I'm Verstine Henry, Verstine at Truth or Talk. I mean, or just Truth or Talk, truthertalk.com, Truth or Talk Reborn, Truth or Talk YouTube channel, with the rabbit with the little hole, the bunny in the hole. If you see that icon, so that's me. That's the channel. Thank you so much, you guys. This is amazing. I love you guys. And peace, truth, and love you guys. Bye.
God bless everybody. God bless.
Bye.
Bye.
Guys.